politician and TV personality nominated to lead the Center for Medicaid and Medicare Services.
I commit to doing whatever I can, working tirelessly to ensure that CMS provides Americans with access to superb care.
Democrats are concerned about the potential impact of government efficiency efforts and spending cuts. Oregon Senator Ron Wyden.
Since you cherish Medicaid, will you agree to oppose cuts in the Medicaid program?
I cherish Medicaid, and I've worked within the Medicaid environment quite extensively, as I highlighted, practicing at Columbia University.
That's not the question, Doctor. The question is, will you oppose cuts to this program you say you cherish? Time's short.
Oz responding, the way to protect Medicaid is to ensure it's viable at every level. The Senate set to vote today on a House-passed bill to avoid a government shutdown after Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer abandoned his push for an alternate proposal, winning praise from President Trump, who says that took guts and courage.
Schumer's decision is a break with House Democratic leaders who opposed the Republican spending plan earlier this week. But the New York Democrats says allowing a shutdown would give President Trump more power over federal agencies and staffing.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. Current funding runs out at midnight tonight. Republicans need at least 8 Democrat votes to break a Senate filibuster. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says he's cautiously optimistic about a ceasefire for Ukraine after a U.S. envoy met with Russia's President Putin.
We continue to recognize this is a difficult and complex situation. It will not be easy. It will not be simple. But we certainly feel like we're at least some steps closer to ending this war and bringing peace.
Russia is claiming it's taken back a key town in part of its Kursk region, where President Putin says he'd guarantee the safety of Ukrainian troops if they surrender there. America is listening to Fox News.
It's time to throw your overpriced big wireless contract overboard. With a qualifying plan, you can choose an iPhone 14 or a Samsung Galaxy for $0. Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team will make the switch in as little as 10 minutes. No hassle, no gimmicks, just honest-to-goodness wireless price right. Dial pound 250, you say the keywords Pure Talk, claim your new iPhone or Galaxy with a qualifying purchase from Pure Talk, which is America's wireless company. Visit puretalk.com for details.
During tax season, your info travels lots of places you can't control.
W-2 arriving from payroll platform 3.
Everything criminals need to steal your identity is on your W-2.
Last call for accountant at home office, 1 minute.
LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second.
Tax preparation data centers with service to IRS. All aboard.
If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Gusty winds throughout the afternoon, and our temperatures jumping to about 81 degrees. Scattered showers and thunderstorms developing late this afternoon. Tonight, showers and storms, some strong to severe. 56 Saturday, northwest flow, partly sunny, windy 66. Sunday, partly sunny, windy and cold 49. Snow flurries around on Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare.
Great sportsman like Tom Ackerman.
Baseball's really not hard.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-656-1551. That's 800-656-1551. 800-656-1551.
Lifestyles Unlimited member Lisa on how our educators and mentors share their knowledge.
The whole Lifestyles Unlimited team is just wonderful, and all the people in it is basically copying what I do so you could be successful.
Lifestyles Unlimited. Over 33 years teaching the real estate retirement roadmap. Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007. Join for just $297 and save 60%. Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007.
Could you make $500,000 in retirement savings feel like $1 million? or $1 million feel like $2 million? The key is having a comprehensive financial plan for taxes, Social Security, inflation, healthcare, income, and more. Discover how you could make money go a lot further in retirement in a 3-hour adult education class, Retirement Planning 101. Guys, it's Dave Glover from KMOX. This one-night class is taught by a fiduciary advisor from Financial and Tax Architects with decades of financial planning experience. They're held at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. There's no cost. Just bring 3 canned goods for the St. Louis Crisis Nursery. If you've saved $300,000 or more for retirement, register by calling 314-350-8110. 314-350-8110. If, like me, you haven't quite had the pedal to the metal the way you should, or if you've had the pedal to the metal the entire time, either way, give us a call. We can help you out. We'll take you wherever you are. 314-350-8110. 314-350-8110 for Financial and Tax Architects.
Choose Syntec Full Synthetic Motor Oil, formulated for today's engines, only at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic or a MicroGuard Select filter for just $32.99 in-store only. Limits apply. Learn more at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Throwing America into the chaos of a shutdown. This, in my view, is no choice at all. While the CR bill is very bad, the potential for a shutdown has consequences for America that are much, much worse. For sure, the Republican bill is a terrible option. It is not a clean CR. It is deeply partisan. It doesn't address far too many of this country's needs. But I believe allowing Donald Trump to take even much more power via a government shutdown is a far worse option. And before I explain why, let me be clear about one thing. No one on my side of the aisle wants a government shutdown. Members who support this CR do not want a government shutdown. Members who oppose this CR do not want a government shutdown.
Well, the leader, the minority leader, I might add, in the Senate there, making it very clear that he supports voting for the CR, does not support a government shutdown. And when choosing between the lesser of two evils, he is going to vote in favor of that CR. And we're going to see how that vote materializes. From what I understand, the vote hasn't taken place yet, so we're going to watch and see what happens. My understanding is that there is going to be a test vote that is taken, and we're going to watch and see if the Democrats choose to do what Donald Trump essentially wanted to have happen and go ahead and pass that continuing resolution that will continue to fund the government until September. Fox News has a report out. House Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi and several key Democrats are urging Senate Democrats to risk a government shutdown by opposing a must-pass spending bill being considered on the Senate floor today. So now you have, somehow or another, a government shutdown is looming. It's a continuing resolution, which has been the MO for the Democrats for quite some time. This is a continuing resolution that was passed last September and is something that was put forth under a Democrat-controlled Senate under Joe Biden's administration. They're asking to pass this once again, and the Democrats have a problem with it now, of course, because they wanted to add in limitations to this CR that would rein in their mind, the out-of-control fascist dictating that is taking place by Donald Trump and Elon Musk. They wanted to add to it, and the Republicans have said, we want to put this through as the spending was. We want to continue that spending on until September when we can get the real dirt done. So they say. I think that Republicans are sitting on the edge of their seat saying, yes, you better do what you said you were going to do. Why we sent you there, Republicans. We want to see cuts. We want to see all of the tax cuts that were passed initially under Donald Trump's first term. We want to make sure that those are made permanent. We want to make sure that the funding that is outrageous, the waste, the fraud, and the abuse, we want to make sure that all of that is that Doge and Elon Musk are finding. We want all of that to be reined in. Yeah, we want to make sure that what is being found right now under Doge, that is actually what is being reined back in. Well, they said they needed till September in order to make sure that happens. So let's see. Let's go back to this report here. Instead, Pelosi, who represents San Francisco, is a leading Democrat in the House, is urging senators to back a shorter-term funding extension that would allow more time for negotiation. The Senate will take a key procedural vote on Friday afternoon to potentially tee up final passage of a crucial stopgap government spending bill known as a continuing resolution. You keep hearing it referred to as a CR. To avoid a partial shutdown as time runs out, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer revealed that he would vote for the House-passed CR because a shutdown would be a gift for President Trump and Republicans. Nancy Pelosi posted on X this morning, just about an hour ago. Pelosi, a leading Democrat in the House, however, is saying the bill presents a false choice. Donald Trump and Elon Musk have offered the Congress a false choice between a government shutdown and a blank check that makes a devastating assault on the well-being of working families across America. Let's be clear. Neither is a good option for the American people, but this false choice that some are buying instead of fighting is unacceptable. So now what are the Democrats going to do? How are they going to address this situation? Carolyn Levitt responded to the current situation. Here, let's listen in.
Well, the president thanked Chuck Schumer publicly this morning, and I think the Democrats last week were gambling that President Trump couldn't secure the votes, and they learned don't bet against Donald Trump. President Trump and Speaker Johnson did a tremendous job getting this continuing resolution across the finish line in the House, and now we expect everyone in the Senate to get on board. This is a good, clean, fair CR for the American people to keep the federal government business open and operating, so we can pass a balanced budget and a good budget reconciliation package later this year. And so we're pleased with Chuck Schumer, and we hope every Democrat will get on board and do what's right for the American public.
You know, when it comes to talking about these Doge cuts, a lot of people on the Democrat Party side of the party, they're freaking out about it, of course. And they consider what Donald Trump has done with his appointment of Elon Musk as the head of the Department of Government Efficiency. You know, a lot of people are saying it's really un-American, it's unpatriotic, it's fascist for Donald Trump to send Elon Musk into this position to find what we continue to hear is waste, fraud, and abuse. That we are watching something take place that Americans don't want to see actually materialize. That Americans are scared of the cuts that are going to come through. And you see the scary headlines. I was just talking about yesterday, seeing a local newspaper that chose to share the headline regarding the USDA cuts, suggesting that Donald Trump is unfunding children's ability to eat meals. The free breakfast, the free lunches are still going to be provided. The measures that were cut back were contracts that were made with distribution in COVID, and they were never undone. Well, now they've been undone, but those breakfasts and those lunches will still continue to be provided. They are not going to be unfed. But that's not advantageous for the Democrats because they don't want you to look at the details and the materials of what is being cut. They just want to come up with the scariest headline and put it out there because, again, they love the word chaos. They want to associate chaos with Donald Trump. And watching Donald Trump and Elon Musk and Elon Musk's Doge crew go through the massive government that we have and find things like COVID contracts, things that were implemented in a time where kids weren't sitting their butts in school. So being able to provide them a lunch and a breakfast at school, you had to create different systems in order to provide those meals. We don't do that anymore. And kids are still getting their breakfasts and their lunches. So you go back to what you were doing before COVID, and those are the contracts that have been canceled, the ones that were implemented due to COVID. The Democrats seem to think that this is a terrifying, scary, scary deal. Well, let's just take a moment here and listen to 2011 Barack Obama talk about doing something quite similar, and wait for it. Just wait and see. When Barack Obama wanted to implement something similar, he had just the right guy to take over the agency.
Knows that getting rid of the deficit will require some tough decisions. And that includes cutting back on billions of dollars in programs that a lot of people care about. But what should be easy is getting rid of the pointless waste and stupid spending that doesn't benefit anybody. Waste we should be getting rid of even if we didn't have a deficit. Sure, some of these cuts aren't that big, but no amount of waste is acceptable. Not when it's your money. Not at a time when so many Americans are already cutting back. Just as families are living within their means, government should too. Did you know the federal government pays for a website devoted to a folk music ensemble made up of forest rangers? They're called the Fiddlin' Foresters. I'll put their music on my iPod, but I'm not paying for their website. And there are hundreds of similar sites that we should consolidate or just get rid of. By the way, you're not only paying for websites no one needs, you're paying for thousands of buildings all across the country no one uses. For the last decade, the government's owned a massive and completely empty warehouse in the middle of Brooklyn, for example. Now, the government hadn't been able to sell this building and others like it because of red tape and Washington politics that held things up for years. But we're finally cutting through all that and plan to get rid of these buildings in the months ahead. We need to step up our game. We need to go after every dime. We need to make government work for you. That's why, starting today, I've asked the Vice President to lead a renewed effort to hunt down misspent tax dollars in every agency and department of this government. We're calling it the Campaign to Cut Waste, and I know Joe's the right man to lead it, because nobody messes with Joe.
There's a new standard by which the government is going to function from this point on. The American people are entitled to transparency. Look, a lot of this depends on new, sophisticated methods, but it also, we know, depends on relentless focus on making this a priority. Focus that can't be delegated. We're holding ourselves accountable, and we're deeply committed and focused on making government function better. We're not just eliminating fraud and waste. We hope to be instilling an entire new culture that not only our administration, but every succeeding administration will in fact pursue. We're going to give you the government you expect and deserve.
Oh my gosh. How long do you have to serve in government before you start calling it government? Apparently that long. Have you ever heard anyone, Ethan, have you ever heard anyone say government?
No.
Ronald Reagan did.
Did he?
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't in there very long.
No, not, well, he was governor of California.
Mm-hmm. He wasn't in there Joe Biden long, though.
Nobody is.
I gotta say, it's kind of funny watching that video of Joe Biden. Like, what that was 2011? Is that right? He looks younger.
He looks like a different person.
But like he still looks old.
He looks.
Looks.
He looks like what elderly people look like when you're a kid in this video.
Yeah.
Like when you're a child and you're looking at, air quotes, old people, which could be anybody in like what their mid 40s, maybe 50s and up. Depends on how they present themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden you get into your 20s and then you get in your 30s and you get a little closer to your 40s, your 50s, and your 60s. And like, they're not old. They're full of life.
They're seasoned.
Look at how much energy they have. Did you see that Joanne ran a 5K the other day? Look at her go. Yeah.
Good for her.
I'm in that phase. That's me.
You go, girl.
Thank you. I need people to look at me and go, she's doing great. And I'm like, this isn't great. No. I see my youth in the rear view and I see my elderly years upon me, and it's a little nerve-wracking. Joe Biden looks like the old guy. He looks like what old people look like to kids.
Yeah.
But then that was 2011, so 9 years later, he becomes the president, and he looks like he should be institutionalized.
It is amazing, and that's the craziest part to me, I think, is you hear that video. Yes, you see the difference, but you also, he just sounds, I'm gonna.
He still
say,
says, "Look."
I'm gonna say senile, but take that with a grain of salt. He sounds like more normal. I'm not saying you agree with it necessarily, agree with everything his politics back then, but compared to now, at least he's talking like he's a competent human being in the video.
One of the things that I've noticed about Donald Trump, even who I believe is 78. Because they're pretty close. They're only a few years apart, Biden and Trump. But Donald Trump, I've noticed his voice, it just ends up, the older you get, your voice will lose some tone to it. You'll lose some of that resonance that comes with.
It's a little more rasp to it, it feels like.
He has a little softer spoken, a little more breathy. I've noticed that about Donald Trump because I've thought to myself, too, Donald Trump's going to have 4 years. He's got, 3 years and 10 months left of this term. That's going to take a toll on him.
Yeah.
And I really hope that it's not a visible toll.
It makes you wonder if, we've talked a lot about the pace that we have seen through the first, 6 weeks, 2 months of his second term. It makes you wonder, because it is such a high demand job, if he's going to be able to keep this all 4 years.
Yeah. And also if he, in that vein, does start to maybe potentially turn over some more visible responsibilities or more. I don't think that in his right mind he's ever going to let go.
Right.
He's not that guy. But he might. I do think he's very wise. And I say things like that, and I know that there are some of you listening to me right now and you hate Donald Trump. And when I say Donald Trump is wise, you fall off your chair. Just get back on the chair. I'll give you a second. I think he's wise. I think he knows how to surround himself with brilliant people, and he listens to them because he knows he doesn't know everything, but he knows if he surrounds himself with people who never know everything about individual things, that he has the wisdom to listen and to act.
Probably the biggest difference between the first term and the second term, right, is how he has gone about that. I think similar mindset during the first term, but I think he learned a lot about who specifically he is putting around him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he had the same cabinet that he did in the first term, I don't think we're having this conversation and saying that eventually, if Donald Trump is getting older, that he is willing to perhaps turn some of those things over, because what we came to learn is he really didn't trust some of the people in his cabinet.
Also, I would say that if you're going to be an outsider coming in, if you're not a politician, if you're a businessman and you don't know the ropes in government in Washington, D.C., if you want the outsider, and everybody wanted the outsider, that's the price of admission. Mm-hmm. You don't know what you don't know because you're not from there. That first term really did show him a lot of where the swamp rooted its roots really deep. We're going to take a quick break right now. We're going to welcome in studio, right?
Mm-hmm.
John Jerome, the president of Heroes Care. Man, we've done some great work with Heroes Care. We've broadcasted live from Heroes Care. And Will O'Donnell, who's a comic and a Marine veteran. We're so excited to have them here in studio with us. Heroes Care Night at Westport Funny Bone. I want you to go to 971talk.com/events right now so you can pick up your tickets. But we're going to have John and Will in here. We're going to have a good time. And helping raise money for Heroes Care is always a worthy endeavor. We're going to work on doing that in just a minute. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Someday, I don't know how, I hope she'll hear my plea. Some way, I don't know how, she'll bring her love to me.
TheDittamoreGroup.com. That's where you're going to go when you are looking to buy or sell your home. The number one team in the number one office in the Metro East. You found them right here on the Annie Fry Show. If you call 618-531-4652, that's 618-531-4652. Call Tammy. When you meet the folks in the Dittamore Group team, you're going to be like, okay, these are fun people. Are they also good at selling real estate? Because yes, they are. They've come together. They've worked together for a long time. They have over 50 plus years of experience assembled in the Dittamore Group team. And when you work with them, you're going to understand that all of those details that they know intricately about the communities, the neighborhoods you're looking to buy in or sell in, those are going to be to your advantage because you've picked the people who know the area, who know the market, who understand the buyers out there right now, who know what is selling and what is not, and that becomes your asset. 618-531-4652. 618-531-4652. TheDittamoreGroup.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-656-1551. That's 800-656-1551. 800-656-1551.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. For over 35 years, we've grown by offering our clients more offices, more lawyers, and recovering more than $20 billion. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hi, Chad Hansen from Hansen's Tree Service. Much like the human body, trees require a specific combination of nutrients to thrive. Our certified arborists can come to your property and prescribe the ideal treatment to ensure your trees and plants thrive this coming season. Check us out today at hansenstree.com and take advantage of our winter savings.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
Put on your dancing shoes and pick up your phones. It's time to make picks on March College basketball. And with Underdog Fantasy, you can bring that excitement to wherever you watch. Playing on their app is as easy as choosing higher or lower on a player's stat lines like points, assists, rebounds. If you're doing the NHL, it's goals. You get those picks right, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Millions of fans have already won billions on Underdog. Will you be next? Get in the game by signing up today for Underdog using the promo code MARKR. That will claim a gimme pick as part of your first cash entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus credits when you deposit. Cash in on every bucket this season with Underdog. The way to get started is to sign up for the app. Download it, get a username and a password, and then use that promo code MARKR because that's going to give you that gimme pick plus up to $1,000 in bonus credits when you make a deposit. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Void where prohibited. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Prices are going up in 2025 on HVAC equipment. Save now with 2024 pricing on a new system today. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com/new.
Brian Kilmeade here, and I'll be there on Saturday, March 22nd. Jot that down at the factory in Chesterfield in this engaging motivational journey through America's past. Tickets available at 971talk.com/events.
Sponsored by Bob and Tammy Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
It's like the saddest song to come in when you're going to talk to a comedian. Come on, what are we doing here? I guess, when you get voted the 2022 winner of St. Louis's Funniest Person contest, we've got Will O'Donnell in studio with us right now, and I'm going to tell you about a great event coming up. What's it like to just walk around the city and know I'm the funniest one here?
It feels pretty good, at least for a year, until there's a 2023 Funniest Person.
Do you got to go take that person out or something like that?
I've thought about it. Now we're 3 years out, so I've got 3 people to kill.
Yeah.
But thankfully, with my military background, it kind of works out.
You have a certain set of skills for these types of things.
That's right.
Yeah, you didn't know you were going to be the funniest person, just period.
That's
in
right.
St. Louis. We've got Will O'Donnell in here. Excited to have one of our funny local comedians. He's a Marine veteran. Of course, that just makes him super awesome in all of our eyes. You are partnering with Heroes Care for a Heroes Care night at the Westport Funny Bone, which is a night of comedy. We're going to have, your community is going to be surrounding you, but it's all to support our military families. And of course, we have John Jerome in here as well. You've been affiliated with Heroes Care since 2004. 20 plus years of working with Heroes Care. Now the president and CEO. Tell me about this event that is coming up, why you decided to partner Will O'Donnell with opportunity to bless our local vets.
Well, Cindy, our case manager, wanted to reach out and find something kind of unique for us to do. And came across the Funny Bone, and they were like, yeah, let's do this. And it just worked out perfect that the comedians are military, and it's all for the military, and everything that we do is for the military.
So I've gone to a few stand-up. We've got good partnerships with the Funny Bone here, and we've gone to see Jamie Lissow. You said you've opened for Jamie.
That's correct.
That he's got such a funny brand of comedy. How, when you're opening up for someone, I guess you got to be 100% Will, right?
Yeah.
How do you prepare for opening up for one person versus another? Is it always you bring Will and that's just the way it is, or do you change things at all?
I think so. Anytime early on, I would try and change things up, and it would be disastrous. I just gotta hope that whoever I'm opening for, their audience likes me, and it syncs up well. Sometimes it does, sometimes not as much. But with Jamie, in that case, those were great shows.
Yeah,
his audience loved me. So, taking the chance of trying to change it up for them, that's how I end up bombing, I feel like. I got to go out there and let it rip and hope they get on board.
I think that's like most things, where it's like if you go in there and you do the best you can at what you do,
that's right,
and you fail, you're like, well, I guess they didn't like me. But if you go out and you try to do something else and fail, you're like, I didn't even give them me.
Exactly.
That's a huge difference. So the tickets are $20 a person. This is a super cheap way to go have a great evening. It's at Westport Funny Bone, Sunday, March 23rd. Every dollar, right, John? Every dollar goes to Heroes Care, and then what happens with it?
Well, we take care of the military throughout the deployment phase, from before, during, after. When we say that, it's during the deployment. If something goes wrong, car breaks down, roof leaks, whatever, they give us a call, and we go into action and get it fixed for them.
Yeah.
We make sure that when they get back that they have all the services that they need. And through our Mission Depot, surprisingly, if you see my Facebook page and the Heroes Care Facebook page, we had a Battle of the Bulge veteran that came out and shopped yesterday.
Are you serious?
That's awesome.
Serious. He's still got the...
How old is he?
He's 100 years old.
Holy smokes.
So we got to get you out in November, because he's coming in for his 101st birthday party at our place.
We should throw a birthday party for him.
We're going to throw a huge one.
I'm writing that down. Hold on a second. 101st B-Day party at Heroes Care. Absolutely. We'll go to Mission Depot.
And I want to throw in one thing here. Radio, I have a face for radio, and I'm looking at myself going, uh-oh.
You look great. You look great. Will, so you are a Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine. Does that come into your set? Does that come into what you talk about? What kind of stories do you tell when you're...
A little bit. I get into it a little bit. It's a well I haven't really gone to enough yet. I do talk about, I think that, the Quick Trip gas stations are secretly run by the military. That if I had to do it again, if I had to get out of the Marine Corps, I would just go work at QT for a while.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like they were just one step below.
Yeah.
Like, you got your Green Berets, and then just below that, you got your red polos. Not quite Navy SEALs, but they're up there. Those, those QT people, they're up there.
The Quick Trips and the Chick-fil-A's of the world, they figured something out.
Them and Aldi.
Aldi.
I think all three of them are getting some military service. Like they got a secret base in Oklahoma or somewhere where they're sending those people.
What is it that society doesn't have that Quick Trip has? Discipline?
Can-do attitude, good posture, a fresh haircut. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Military. Yeah, I see it. I think it's refreshing. It's unfortunate that it's kind of the outlier, but when you go into a Quick Trip and they're a well-oiled machine, and there's a sense of, I'm not miserable while I'm here, and
America,
you walk
baby.
out. Yes. Yeah. And is it okay these days? I'm saying this to a Marine, but I feel like we're getting a little back into the realm where you can say America, baby, and someone goes, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Right. I think so.
So when you're doing your set, a little bit of military, what other type of things do you like to bring in?
I just talk about being a dad. How
many kids do you have?
I have two girls
Mhm.
and 2 stepsons. We got a little Brady Bunch thing going. It's real nice.
What's easier, girls or boys? I have one boy, 15, and then 3 girls after that.
I don't know which one's easier. I grew up in a family of all boys,
Mhm.
and we fought, like with fisticuffs. My girls fought, but they fought differently. They fought like
psychological warfare.
Yeah, she wore
I'm
my
good at
dress
it.
without asking, so I gave her shoes to Goodwill. And I'd be like, just punch your sister. Just punch her.
Just take care of it.
This is complicated. I don't know how to adjudicate this kind of case.
Do you get into it with them? Do you let them solve it? Like if there's consternation in the house between the girls,
I tend to get in the car and leave for a while.
you just vacate.
Yeah.
Abort mission. So what about it? What about how old are they ish?
My girls are actually 24 and 21.
Okay, so maybe out of the house, if not out of the house, they're very independent. What about like high school and middle school? Was it socially difficult for them at all ever?
It was tough. It was socially difficult for me.
Yeah?
What I had to go through. Especially my younger girl. She put me through it.
It's a difficult time.
It's a difficult time.
How do you what kind of advice do you have to dads who are watching their daughters navigate girl world, boys being introduced to the picture? Like what do you say? Not to fix the daughter situation, because only time can do that.
Yeah, that's right. You just have to be patient and
What do you
wait.
say to those dads?
Make sure she knows you love her and she'll come back to you. Just be patient and get through it. It's like, it's like getting through a 4-year-long bad weather pattern, but it will eventually break.
That's a tour of duty.
With my 2 daughters,
Mhm.
what I discovered was I was poor all the time because they had horses.
Oh yeah, it's an investment.
But they didn't know what a boy was until they had to go to prom.
Yeah?
I was good for mine.
Yeah. We've got John Jerome in here, who is heading up Heroes Care, does wonderful mission work to support our veterans at Heroes Care. You can go to heroescare.org to learn more about what they are doing there. This event is Sunday, March 23rd, 6 p.m. at the Westport Funny Bone with Will O'Donnell, who we have in here talking as well. What about social media? I mean, I would assume you, like me, were not raised in social media land.
That's correct.
Or internet land. But then it rears its ugly head when you're raising kids.
Absolutely.
Did they have it? Did you police it? How'd you manage that?
Thankfully, my girls grew up, at least they got to be a certain age before they were bombarded with it.
Yeah.
At least they were 10 or 12 before. I mean, for us, I don't know how old you guys are, but like for me, it was like I was 25 years old before I had
I'm 40.
an email address.
Yeah.
You know? So and I'm so grateful, but my girls might have made it to 12 or 13 before they had an Instagram account.
Mhm.
Now, my God,
And
2-year-olds have iPads.
I have an
you know?
8-year-old, and she's told me before, she's like, everybody in my class has a device. And I'm like, no, they don't. They're telling you they do because they think everybody else does.
Yeah.
And, half of them do. Half of them don't. My daughter is 12. She's a 7th grader. And I had to cave on the phone thing a little bit sooner than I wanted to, but they don't have any social media. My son's 15. He has no social media.
That's awesome.
And I've convinced him that he doesn't need it. He's
That's
kind of okay with it. We keep him busy doing things instead of sitting and... But it's a challenge.
It is a challenge. It's a challenge for me to stay off social media.
Yeah.
You know, I need to have it to promote comedy, but I
Mhm.
try and just promote comedy and then get off of it.
Yeah.
Because it'll suck you in.
It will suck you in, and it'll suck the life out of you, too. So a little bit more on Will here. Like I said, of course, he's a Marine veteran, the winner of the 2022 St. Louis Funniest Person contest. You have toured with Dusty Slay, seen on The Tonight Show, Netflix, and Nateland. You've had 5 brothers. Where do you land in the...
I'm number 4 out of 6 boys.
Were you close in age?
Yes. Well, so the first 4 of us are 2 years apart. I'm 44, and so we're 44, 46, 48, and 50. Then
That had to be intense.
It was intense. It was intense having 3 older brothers watch your every move. But there's certain things there's advantages.
I was going to say, are you refined because of it?
I can eat cereal very quietly. I don't make any sounds with my mouth at the dinner table.
That's a dream.
Because I have 3 older brothers being like, stop smacking your laps.
Yeah.
You know?
I have that problem.
Stop crunching. It's called Captain Crunch. It's in the name. You ever been punched in the face at the breakfast table? I have. Okay?
Not literally, mentally. Oh, man. And then how old's the baby of the family?
Let's see. I'm 44. He's 38.
Yeah?
36.
Did he grow up, was he's a little bit of separation from the cutthroat life that the 4 of you boys had to grow up with, I'm sure.
A little bit, yeah.
Did he grow up kind of like as the baby only child of the family in a way?
Yeah, him and his brother, or him and the next one up, they did get the baby treatment.
Mm-hmm.
But I made sure they took some beatings. I wasn't going to let them get away with it.
I was going to say, what was it like to transition in between being the youngest to now all of a sudden, all right, now it's my time to shine?
I think that's why I'm a comedian, honestly.
You got to make people
I think
laugh.
I was doing cartwheels and nobody was seeing me, and I was like, I'm going to develop a way to get attention one way or another, and eventually figured it out.
That's how you did it. All right. Well, we appreciate you coming in here, and I hope that everybody listening right now, it's Sunday, March 23rd, and the event is at the Westport Funny Bone. Affordable tickets, $20 a person. They should probably be more expensive because every one of these dollars goes to support Heroes Care, so all proceeds from ticket sales benefit this Heroes Care 501c3 nonprofit. If you go to the website and check out, it's heroescare.org, and we've got the information at 971talk.com/events as well. Please show up, buy tickets, buy a round of tickets, bring your family. Can families, like, what's the age appropriateness for this?
I would say, teenagers and up.
Teenagers and up?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's a great, I was not, prior to, I think Jamie Lissa was the first stand-up comedian I ever went in like a Funny Bone situation. I'd been to some bigger productions or whatever. And we were talking with him here, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go out of my comfort zone. I'm going to do this. And like, I hurt from laughing afterwards. And I realized I don't know the last time that I've laughed that long for that hard. And it was medicinal to sit there and cut loose and just have a great time. So highly encourage everybody to show up and support a really great cause, but also have a great evening. It also says there's going to be a raffle with great prizes there as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Cindy hooked up with, I'm assuming our Riveter is Rosie the Riveter.
Uh-huh.
And it was 2 spouses, military spouses, that got together, and they now make the purses.
Okay.
And they are super expensive purses that they donated one for us to raffle off at the evening.
That's wonderful. All right. Well, thank you guys both for being here. John, Will, pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank
Likewise.
you. I hope it's a packed house. I got to check my calendar and see if I'm free. I might try to get there if it's a free night for us in the Fry home. $20 a ticket. Go to 971talk.com/events. I expect a sell-out. Let's do the thing and do it right and have a good time doing it. We'll come back with Weekends America and Ethan, John Jerome, Will O'Donnell. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, take care. We'll be right back with Ethan in the studio.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
Hi, this is Steve Butts with the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. I know we're all experiencing sticker shock when you get your insurance premium. Now more than ever, you need an independent insurance agent to find the best value for your family's insurance needs. Crawford Butts, family owned and operated for more than 60 years. Please give us a call at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com.
Farming's hard. To feed the world, farmers have to work the land, brave the elements, and fight the battle against weeds. Weeds reduce crop yields, so prices go up and everybody gets less to eat. But 50 years ago, farmers got a new tool to fight weeds, glyphosate. It kills weeds while protecting the harvest. Time and again, it has been approved by the EPA and by leading regulatory bodies around the world. It helps enable practices that reduce erosion and keep soil healthy, which is good for the earth. Farming's hard, but it's a little easier with glyphosate. Learn more at go.bayer.com/glyphosate, paid for by Bayer.
Guys, it's time to take charge of your health with my friends at Victory Men's Health. Mark Cox here. I already love what they do at Victory. They do hormone optimization, sexual health, weight loss, even vitamin deficiencies. Now they're offering specialty cardiovascular testing and even early detection cancer screening. Visit them at one of their 4 great locations, now in Sunset Hills, Town and Country, O'Fallon, Missouri, and O'Fallon, Illinois. Tell them Mark Cox sent you. Go to victorymenshealth.com.
Today's YouTube live chat poll. Who is the MVP of Team Trump? We need to know your answer to that. So we got 4 options here for you. We got Elon Musk, RFK Jr., J.D. Vance, or Marco Rubio. I saw this question and I'm still trying to develop, what is my answer to this one? And I haven't figured it out yet. So I need you guys to jump on the chat, convince me of your choice. So leave a comment and let us know. The time is 12:45. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
The Retirement Advisory Group is having their next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. And you've probably never been to one of these. And if you have, I have had people who come back and listen for a second time. You guys are all-stars. If you haven't been yet, I want you to realize how simple it is to sign up, how easy of a commitment it is. A, it's free. B, it's only going to take about 45 minutes of your time. It's not a long event. And C, when you go there, you're going to be able to meet Mark Cox, Mark Reardon, myself. We'll all be there from 6 o'clock to 6:30 before the event begins, because we would really love the opportunity to meet you. So if you want to come for this free event, if you want to learn about how you can transition away from your working years into your retirement and make sure that you benefit for market upturns and you do not get hurt by market downturns, this is what the Retirement Advisory Group does for you. Call them at 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. Tell them Annie sent you and reserve your spot. Once you've done that, I'll see you there on Tuesday, March 25th at the Frontenac Hilton. The event starts at 6:30. If you want to meet Mark, and myself, you got to get there between 6 and 6:30, and hopefully we can meet everybody before the event begins. I would love to see you. Find us online at retirementkey.com.
Hey, it's Mark Cox. Join me and the St. Charles County Republican Central Committee for the Lincoln Trump Dinner Friday, March 21st at Old Hickory Golf Club. Get your tickets now and learn about sponsorship opportunities at 971talk.com/events.
Can't be sleeping, keep on waking without the woman next to me. Guilt is burning, inside I'm hurting. This ain't a feeling I can keep.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Don't blame it on me. Don't blame it on me. Blame it on the night. Don't blame it on me. Don't blame it on me. Blame it on the night.
So welcome back. Gary just commented on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. Annie, those 2 guys were great guests for a great cause. Thanks for highlighting them and the event. I just booked my tickets.
Not to be mistaken with Gary Vood. This is different Gary.
This is Gary Thomas.
Gary
That
Thomas.
Could be a middle name.
True.
It might be Gary Thomas
I guess
Vood,
so.
and we just didn't know.
That's fair. That's fair. The spirit of Ryan
Is this
Wiggins
you?
lives on.
Ryan? Ryan's reporting from SeaWorld.
I think he's at Disney today.
Yeah, he is. I'm sure he'll be sending us pictures of him having all the fun today, as he should. This is something I've taken from Ryan, and I don't say this very often, but I learned from him.
Are you feeling okay?
You shuddered. You audibly shuddered. Yeah, I know. I'll say it now. He's not here.
Exactly.
He won't know. He takes each of his kids. He's got 3 kids. He goes on weekend trips with individual kids. And they do theme parks and stuff. Now, if you know and have listened to this show for a long time, you know that my family is a Disney World family. I say that, we would be summed up as being a Disney family, but specifically Disney World. That's where we go vacation. When we went the first time, really the summation of our affinity for Disney World, 2017 was the crappiest year of my life, bar none. My husband would say the same thing about his. It was just a terrible, terrible year. Lots of bad things happened. Very painful things happened. And in 2018, I had been working at 97.1 since 2009. In 2018, April, I got this midday show, and he had gotten a new job, and we were in a position where we could take our kids on a family vacation. And we thought, since our youngest daughter was 2, was Evelyn at the time, she's 8 now, We're like, let's hurry up and check the Disney World box. We can say we took our kids. At 2, you're still free. Let's just go. We could afford to do it at that time. We'd never done it before. And we went. And I think we were there for like 5 nights or 6 days. 5 nights, 6 days. We were happy 100% of the time. And we hadn't been happy in so long, right? And
might be a little tear on my cheek.
And it hit me like a ton of bricks because I was like, yeah, we're doing the Disney World thing. And every time I would talk about it to people, I'd be like, I'm not a Disney person. We're just doing the thing. And I laughed and I'm like, I think I'm a Disney person.
Yeah, fast forward 5 years and you have a condition that you don't know how to fix.
Yeah, I do. But it's great. It's a place to go be happy, to be with each other. It's more about who you're with when you're there than where you are. And it's worked for us, and I'm highly critical of the things that I think need to be criticized about the company, but there's a lot that's good about it, and I like to share that with the people I love. And so that's why we go. And Ryan, he has an affinity for theme parks, and so does some of his kids. I don't know if they all do yet. But he takes the time to go take one of them, and he does it with all of his kids. It's not like he just picks one. He takes each of his kids on these trips and goes and does things with just them. And I think that's spectacular.
I think he did Legoland a few months ago.
Something like
on
that.
His last one. Now he's doing Orlando. Yeah.
Yeah. So good for him.
Fortunate kids.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
in some ways.
In a lot of ways.
In some ways.
They're very blessed kids. Be or not the bee?
Wiggins!
Not the bee.
The bee or not the bee?
Well, you heard what the title is. It's the bee or not the bee. Is it real? Is it satire? I'm going to read a news headline, or it is your decision to decide, I guess, if it is real or fake. So let's go ahead and start with this one.
Okay.
Liberals defeat Nazis by painting swastikas everywhere and torching immigrant businesses. Getting started with a banger. It's the bee. Liberals across the world have defeated Nazism finally by painting, swastikas on everything and setting fire to immigrant-owned storefronts, with hope seemingly lost after Nazis seized America and threatened to take over the globe. Progressives courageously fought back, committing widespread arson against immigrant businesses and spray painting Nazi symbols on cars and buildings. We did it! We beat the Nazis! Shouted activist Jean Le Pen.
The fact that Elon Musk is an immigrant and he is an African American is the biggest not the bee in the history of time.
I just think it's so funny that Tesla, Elon Musk, went from being, I don't know if they were necessarily like publicly loved, but they're very well known and I think very well respected for what they were doing for America. And then all of a sudden, he becomes attached with Donald Trump, and he's like one of the most hated people in the world. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, and I just think back to how long ago, how many years ago was it that if you saw a Tesla, you just thought it was a lib?
Yeah, it's true.
It's like seeing
I associate Tesla with California.
Did Nissan Leafs still exist? Wasn't that a car?
That was a car.
Didn't they blow up or something?
Well, it was just like an electric car, and it wasn't very good.
Those were they kind of like the tiny little BMWs,
very
like the
small.
super
like a
small,
Prius.
Yeah, very small,
but like smaller than a Prius.
Just imagine if in 4 years, whoever makes Prius comes out and is like, MAGA. We're all gonna be like, what do we do now?
Toyota.
We're going back to horses and buggies.
We're gonna run out of things to drive.
Story number 2?
Yeah.
This one's pretty heartbreaking. Ireland has capsized after the arrival of Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh, no, B.
In a horrific disaster.
Oh, my God.
Sending tidal waves across the Atlantic.
Have you seen her glasses?
Yeah.
They look like the windows on a ship. No, they
put
got
some freaking windshield wipers on those things.
But they're like circles, and they look like they have the little screw things that you put in on that like hold ship windows in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
According to British monitors, the eastern half of Ireland began sinking moments after Miss O'Donnell waddled forth from her plane. That's terrible. That's so bad.
Yeah. Moving on.
That's bad. Okay, on to the next one here. Newsweek seriously fact-checked a joke about JD Vance memes in the White House.
Sounds real.
I'm going to say it's real.
This is actually real. So I think everyone here knows about the stories that have been going around, the memes that have been going around on Twitter, on X, about JD Vance and Well, someone photoshopped a picture. I don't know if it's in the Oval Office or outside the Oval Office it's a framed picture of Trump, and right next to it is one of the gremlin-looking J.D. Vance pictures. And
I think it's so funny that J.D. Vance thinks it's funny, and the left is like, they don't get it.
Newsweek did a story on this. The title of this was, "Has a J.D. Vance meme been put on display in the White House? What we know."
So has it?
No.
It should now.
Yeah.
Whichever one they're referring to needs a place.
It 100%
and
should.
It should change every time. It'd be like the Superman in Seinfeld. Like you gotta figure out which. Like that was George Washington yesterday, but now it's J.D. Washington.
The person that posted this was Natalie Winters, and she's already been in the news because she was the one that all the liberals were freaking out about, that she was wearing a dress to the meetings and stuff.
She like a tiny dress.
Yeah. Everyone was freaking out about her. But anyway, so
raised her profile.
Yeah, she's been in the news a little bit here. Okay.
One more?
Got time for one more here.
Yeah. One
okay.
or two.
Track and field runner accidentally trips, punches, attacks rival with a sword.
Ooh.
Tough one.
B.
It is indeed the B.
You had me until the end there.
This week's championship 4x200 meter relay
Impaled.
event ended in disaster when a runner accidentally tripped, punched, and attacked her rival with a sword. The incident took place on the final turn as Elena Engel seemingly assaulted fellow athlete Kaylin Taylor as she pulled even with her. Engel said the following, that it was unintentional. "It was just an accident. I probably shouldn't have been running with a sword that day. Now everyone's mad at me and they think I did it on purpose because I brought a sword to the relay race."
Oh, man. That's a good one.
That
story is wild.
Crazy.
I'm so tired.
Now there's hundreds of people that are backing her in public. I guess they had some sort of event.
The runner
Yeah.
that did the whacking?
That did the whacking.
That's crazy.
She's like, "I'm not a fighter." Well,
no, you're
sure
an
doesn't look
assaulter.
like it.
Yeah.
I think she's getting charged now.
She should. It was an assault or battery. What's the difference? What is wrong with people? Ugh.
Yeah, that.
Stick around. We got Joe Concha at 125. Congressman Burlison. We're going to talk to him about that CR. We're waiting to see the Senate Democrats. We're going to see what the Senate votes. Here's my question. If only 7 Democrats vote in favor of it and they're one short, do Republicans get the blame or Democrats? We'll find out.
If you're a homeowner, it's time to upgrade your windows with Window World. Mark Cox here. I am a satisfied customer. I love the windows they put in my house, and there's a reason they're ranked number 1 in the number of windows sold in this country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. They have that lifetime warranty. It covers all the parts, the glass breakage, the labor. You don't have to worry about it anymore. And in over 20 years in business, they have improved the look and the thermal efficiency of over 76,000 customers in the greater St. Louis area. Window World is now offering 36 months, same as cash financing, with approved credit. And I think the customer service sets them apart from the rest of their competition. And they have an excellent track record with the Better Business Bureau. They've also raised a lot of money, over $3 million for local and national charities. So be sure and check them out. Call them at 314-993-1800. Tell them Mark Cox sent you. You can also go to windowworld.com.
Attention St. Louis Medicaid residents in need of care at home. If you need assistance with daily activities, you can receive in-home care from a loved one that lives with you and they get paid. Through Medicaid with no cost to you, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care at home in St. Louis and they get paid instantly. This is 100% free to you. Call now to check your eligibility. It can be your daughter, son, a close relative, or trusted friend helping you with cooking, transportation, laundry, and other activities in your own home. You get the help you need and your caregiver gets paid instantly. Freedom Care has over 7,000 5-star Google reviews and is a leading choice in St. Louis for in-home care. If you have Medicaid and want great care from a loved one that's free to you through Medicaid, go to freedomcare.com or call 314-597-1749, 314-597-1749, 314-597-1749.
Surprise! Surprise! You know, surprise parties, they can be fun, right? Well, financial surprises, not so much, especially when you're retired, like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you think you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions and schedule a retirement double check. Marvin and his team have been helping families plan for retirement for more than 15 years. Call 314-373-1598 to schedule your retirement double check with Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions. That's 314-373-1598. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Give Marvin and the team a call, 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and in Illinois.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Possible progress on a ceasefire. Lisa Brady, Fox News. America's top diplomat weighing in about the effort to get Russia and Ukraine to the table.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio says he is cautiously optimistic a ceasefire proposal will be agreed to by Russian President Vladimir Putin.
I think the question is, are we actually moving towards a ceasefire, or is this a delay tactic? I'm not going to answer that because I can't characterize that for you right now.
Rubio met with his G7 counterparts in Canada a day after President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow. Ukraine has agreed to a 30-day ceasefire proposal. Putin has suggested conditions he wants met.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. President Trump calls his envoy's talks with Putin very good and productive. Secretary of State Rubio also telling reporters he expects more student visas to be revoked in connection with destructive protests on college campuses.
When they said they were coming here to be students, they didn't say they were coming here to occupy university buildings and vandalize them and tear them apart and have campuses hostage.
There's an ongoing legal fight over the protest-related detention of a former Columbia University grad student who has a green card. As part of a Trump crackdown on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, the Education Department is now investigating more than 50 universities over possible racial discrimination.
45 are being targeted over their partnerships with the PhD Project, a nonprofit that helps students from underrepresented groups get degrees in business with the goal of diversifying the business world. Those schools include public and private universities like Arizona State, Ohio State, Duke, Yale, and MIT. Education Department officials say the nonprofit limits eligibility based on race and is, quote, exclusionary.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. The probe after a memo last month warned schools they could lose money over race-based preferences. That's being challenged in federal court. America is listening to Fox News.
It's time to throw your overpriced big wireless contract overboard. With a qualifying plan, you can choose an iPhone 14 or a Samsung Galaxy for $0. Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team will make the switch in as little as 10 minutes. No hassle, no gimmicks, just honest-to-goodness wireless price right. Dial pound 250, you say the keywords Pure Talk, claim your new iPhone or Galaxy with a qualifying purchase from Pure Talk, which is America's wireless company. Visit puretalk.com for details.
During tax season, your info travels lots of places you can't control.
W-2 arriving from payroll platform 3.
Everything criminals need to steal your identity is on your W-2.
Last call for accountant and home office, 1 minute.
LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second.
Tax preparation data centers with service to IRS. All aboard.
If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Gusty winds throughout the afternoon, and our temperatures jumping to about 81 degrees. Scattered showers and thunderstorms developing late this afternoon. Tonight, showers and storms, some strong to severe. 56 Saturday, northwest flow, partly sunny, windy 66. Sunday, partly sunny, windy and cold 49. Snow flurries around on Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
If you're struggling with weight and frustrated with dieting each and every year, Mark Patrick Seminars can help.
After this hypnosis, I want to eat good food.
Since August, I can honestly say I have not had one potato chip.
It was life-changing for me.
And I don't think about desserts like I used to.
Bridget, how much have you lost now?
I lost a total of 83 pounds.
Holy cow.
It's easy, it's fun, very relaxing, and very successful.
And I would just say go for it.
Early bird special, only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings. That's right. Seminar Sunday, March 16th. Holiday Inn, St. Louis Southwest, Route 66 in St. Louis. Weight loss seminar, 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar, 2 p.m. Or Monday, March 17th. 4 Points by Sheraton, St. Louis, Fairview Heights, Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar, 8 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-MILLION. That's 314-9 all zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is happening now. Tune in to the Annie Fry Show live stream. Vote and be a part of the conversation by typing in Annie Fry on YouTube. Subscribe and leave a comment.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Let's talk a little bit about the YouTube live chat poll for today. Who is the MVP of the Trump team right now? And I have to say, I had 5 names that I was going to put on here, and I left one off intentionally because I thought that person might be the overwhelming favorite, and I didn't know who else to pull out. And that name that I left off was Tom Homan. The other options that you have right now, Elon Musk, RFK Jr., J.D. Vance, and Marco Rubio. I feel like those 4 groups specifically represent very different wings of the Republican Party. Who's the MVP of the Trump team right now? We could ask this question again in 6 months, and it could be a very different scenario based on how much progress does Elon Musk make? How much progress does RFK Jr. make on his Make America Healthy Again initiative? Look at Marco Rubio. Do we, fix our situation in the Panama Canal? Do we broker world peace between Russia and Ukraine and potentially have received all of the hostages back from Hamas and try to establish some sense of at least managed peace in the Middle East? Do we acquire Greenland? There are a lot of things on the table for Marco Rubio. And this is another thing about Marco Rubio. I've been a fan since 2015, 2016, when he was running. If you were so bored and you went back and listened to any of the clips of me advocating for him, I think that really would have been when I was sitting in a side chair on the Mark Cox show, which was on Sunday nights, which was how the very first thing that I started doing on air in radio, like with the intent of being on air. My boss at the time, our program director, suggested that we try this. And I remember when he sat me down, he was like, I have an idea. And he goes, you're going to think I'm crazy. And he goes, I've been thinking about this for a while. And he's like, what would you think about sitting in on the Mark Cox show on Sunday nights and just seeing how it goes? And he was like, if it doesn't go well, we'll stop. If it goes well, we'll just keep doing it until, an opportunity presents itself or whatever. So I did that for 2 years. And those 2 years that I did that led into, it was 2014 and 2015. So the GOP primary had really started to go. And my recollection, Mark, was that you were in big favor of Ted Cruz in that primary. And I was a big fan of Marco Rubio, and he did not like Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio was a member of the Gang of Eight, which, Ethan, you probably don't know what that is.
Sure don't.
The Gang of Eight was a group of senators, 8 of them, who were trying to put together something to solve our immigration problems in 2014 and 15. And what they were trying to do involved conversations around what kind of worker visas are they? Do you remember? I'm thinking E85. That's not it. I'm here on an E85 visa. No, you're not. You're going to need to go home. What was that called? Somebody tell me what it was called. I'm waiting for a comment or two. It was just basically a work visa that you could come over here. They wanted you to e-verify. That's what I'm thinking of. They wanted you to be able to verify your status to make sure that this, when it comes to immigration, you've got people coming here and working. They come here illegally, and then American companies employ illegal aliens to work for them. They pay them a paltry wage because they can pay them so much less because it's off the books. So then American workers are out good jobs or, reasonable paying wages with a job. And then American companies would take advantage of aliens who are coming here because they'd work for less because they don't have a choice. That's not American. That's not good. So the idea that you would require verification status to make sure that the employees that are being utilized by these companies on this side, whether you're picking crops or whatever it is that you're doing over here, that it's in the system, would end up making a immigration setup that would have to honor transparency. And that was part of it. And E-Verify, I don't know. I remember, if you say Gang of Eight to people who are paying attention to politics in 2014, they'll snarl at you if they're, super on the right. That's what Mark Cox used to do. He used to growl at me.
Good to know.
He didn't. Actually, he might say he did. I don't know. He was not a fan. And I was sitting in on his show with the utmost respect for his kindness and his generosity, because to be like, I have this Sunday 2-hour show, and now this young whippersnapper is going to come sit in here and disagree with me. I tried to know my place, know my role, and not offend him. Mark's the greatest guy ever.
Did you actually call him a whippersnapper?
He probably called me that. I don't know. Not him.
He called you that.
Yeah.
Did he actually call you that is what I meant. I'm sorry.
Not that I recall.
Okay.
But it sounds like something he'd say.
Kind of does.
He was super pro Ted Cruz, as was the majority of the educated Republican side of the aisle. Because Ted Cruz, you want to know somebody, I think, doesn't Ted Cruz have a photographic memory? I think he does.
That sounds right.
He's incredibly smart. But Marco Rubio was out there, and he was talking about families, and he was talking about a new American century, I think was his, I'm recalling him saying over a new American century, which was really kind of like Make America Great Again, America First. He was talking about investing in families. He had such a way of clarity of communicating his message, but everybody thought he was a rhino. I'm like, well, I like him. And now I see so many people on X, they're being like, gosh, Marco Rubio really surprised me. And I'm like, I'm not surprised. I've been saying this whole time.
Does that feel good?
Yes, it does. I told you. I told you all. I told you so. I've always wanted him to be the president. I would vote for him for president next time around if he ran. Ron DeSantis, too. I just think they're the right type of people. I think they seem like they're cut from a different cloth than a lot of other politicians that are out there. Could be wrong, but I haven't been wrong about Marco Rubio yet. So he's one of the options that we have right now. And then you have J.D. Vance on our list of who is the Trump team MVP right now. Marco Rubio's job is obvious. He's a Secretary of State, and he's traveling the world right now and trying to bring the American message to the rest of the world to say this is how we are doing things, and we'd like to know if you'd like to be on board or not. Because if you're not on board, we're going to reply accordingly. J.D. Vance, as the vice president, you got to kind of ask yourself, what is the vice president's job? It's whatever it needs to be. Mm-hmm. It might be a little bit with the Secretary of State. It might be sitting in on a meeting with Zelensky where you're trying to get a minerals deal signed that you've already bought the meal for, and being like, hey, Stop disrespecting the president of the United States. That might be your job. You never know. It might be media tours as well.
Well, first of all, we have to do this sequentially, Laura. So what the president said on the campaign is the very first and most important thing is to secure the borders. We have 20 million, maybe more illegal aliens in this country right now. We have to stop that number from growing. And by the way, in 6 weeks, we've almost accomplished complete border security. You've had places that had 1,500 illegal encounters a day. Now they're at 30 illegal encounters a day. We've cut illegal border crossings by well over 95%. And frankly, I think those numbers are going to continue to come down. So once you get operative control of the border, now you have to ramp up deportations. And Laura, this is another area where Joe Biden has left us with a hole that we have to dig out of. You have immigration detention facilities that were underfunded. You have ICE, which does most of the actual deportations, that was radically underfunded, really sort of in some ways destroyed by the Biden administration. We're building that capacity up. I do think that you're going to see those deportation numbers rise. And again, the president every single day in private and in public is asking, how do we get those deportation numbers?
Yeah, he wants them up. He's impatient. He's like I am. He's very impatient.
It's good to have a leader who's impatient to get things done, because it has all of us in his government actually asking ourselves what we can do.
So you listen to J.D. Vance there. He's like the diplomat to the American people on behalf of the administration. He has been a great communicator. He has been somebody who has personality. I feel like if you go back and think of vice presidents gone by, the vice president's job is to kind of not be flashy. There's not a lot of personality. I guess Joe Biden as a vice president had personality, but I don't think it was ever really billed as an asset. The way he communicates the Trump team's goals, successes, and policies, it's second to none. He speaks to people like he's a person. It's very advantageous to have a J.D. Vance on the team. What do you think of him?
As this video is going on, I don't know if I've decided yet out of these four who would be the Trump team MVP, but I think that you nailed it on the head with, if there's a reason for J.D. Vance, it's his ability to not shy away from these kind of interviews. Now, I know Lauren Ingraham is, out of all the interviews he's done, is not going to be the one that's going to be pressing him the most, but he has not, even before the election, but even since, he has not been afraid to be interviewed by the opposition. And I haven't really seen a moment where anyone has had a gotcha moment on J.D. Vance. It just seems like he's constantly on top of it. And, they always say, like, in our business, don't ever say always or never. Yeah. And Trump always says always and never, it feels like. I mean, that's just kind of what his personality is. We're the best. We had the best of this. We had the best of that. They had the worst of this. J.D. Vance, it feels like, levels Donald Trump out in a way that makes them work so well together. And I think that makes Trump look better, the stuff that Vance is doing as the face, I feel like, of the administration.
Ethan, that is exactly right. And it doesn't work if Trump doesn't completely entrust him in that position. Like, that has to be a two-way street. And because J.D. Vance gets to be J.D. Vance and Trump blesses the whole thing, it's completely functional. Brad, your thoughts on J.D. Vance, vice president? I mean, I don't look to vice presidents as being completely consequential, but I feel like J.D. Vance is.
J.D. Vance is incredibly consequential because he, like, to piggyback off of what Ethan says, he is able to, I think J.D. Vance is that communicator that everybody said that was, like, always kind of offended by Trump's way of communicating. J.D. Vance is that communicator that they wish Trump was, and he's 100% on board with the Trump agenda. So J.D. Vance is able to take Trump's message that a lot of people like the way Trump delivers, but he's able to put it in a way that the people who don't like the way Trump delivers it, to deliver it. He's able to defend it really well. But the other thing, too, that I think is key to J.D. Vance is he still has that edge that Trump has that everybody likes. So he's able to not just, deliver a calm, measured response. He's also able to deliver a response with a little sharpness, with a little attitude whenever necessary. So he doesn't look like a worked over Mike Pence.
Doesn't he make it look fun?
He does, and I think that he's having fun doing it. We talked about the J.D. Vance memes, and one of the most popular memes is him as Leonardo DiCaprio's character pointing at the screen.
Wolf of Wall Street.
It wasn't the Wolf of Wall Street. It was a Hollywood video, but he's pointing out, it's like, here I come right here is the scene. And so every time he saw a meme, he would post this meme of himself pointing at the screen saying, "Yep, here I am."
That's not The Wolf of Wall Street?
I thought it was The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh.
No,
Yeah, well,
I'll figure it out.
I do think that J.D. Vance is... Edge is a good word for it, Brad, but also just like the fun.
Mm-hmm.
The fun is there, and man, there's nothing going to make the Democrats crawl in their skin more than watching this happen and watching them publicly, unafraid, have fun while they're doing it. Here is your senator and my adopted senator, Eric Schmidt, talking about Doge.
Now, let me just opine just for a second on why my Democrat colleagues on the other side are so nervous about all this Doge stuff. It's because this racket that's been used to launder taxpayer dollars to their buddies and their left-wing radical groups, the gravy train is stopping. And it's terrifying to them. But to normal people in real America, they think this stuff is crazy. And finally, we have somebody in the Oval Office with a team who can root this stuff out. So keep going. We're just getting started with this stuff, and we'll be back next week with more ridiculous things that the Democrats want funded with your taxpayer dollars. I yield back, Mr. President.
So there you have Senator Eric Schmidt really giving you the lowdown on the benefits of Doge, which of course is being headed up by Elon Musk. Elon Musk is another one of our MVP candidates for the Trump team right now. And I think that Elon Musk is the odds-on favorite for winning this poll because his name is out there so much. And when I compare Elon Musk to Donald Trump, very wealthy people who set aside their time and their dollar to become less wealthy on behalf of the American people and the American future, Elon Musk and Donald Trump are two of a kind. They understand the arrows that are going to be sling their way, and they do it anyway. And so I'm looking at Elon Musk thinking it's really hard, I think, to pick against him in this poll.
Yes, I mean, there's no arguing what he has done as far as the Doge cuts and everything so far. What I'm kind of interested in is, I think I heard a poll the other day that the approval rating for Elon Musk is lower than it is for Trump. Like, I think it's around 40% approval rating for Musk. And I guess my question is it because people think that he's like hitting too hard? Is he going too hard at it? And I mean, people are used to hearing the media talk poorly about Trump, so I don't know if they trash on Elon all the time, so I don't know.
Yeah, they're doubling down.
But I don't know if that's would necessarily be the reason that the American people, the approval rating is down for Elon Musk. Obviously, he's done a lot, but I'm trying to figure out like what the people don't like about what he's doing.
They have an overwhelming, overflowing sense of hatred, and they can't hate Donald Trump enough. And so Elon Musk is a worthy replacement so that they can grow even more hate in this anti-Trump, anti-MAGA, anti-America First world that we live in. And it's interesting to me, there's a very small percentage of people who actually are that driven by their hatred for Donald Trump. But aside from those people, there's a whole political class that understands that hatred exists and that hatred breeds fear in people. And not the people who are just consumed by their hate, the TDSers, not them. The people who understand the moment manufacture fear to make it seem as though the TDSers are bigger than they are. There are so many people who are afraid of what they don't even understand. They've been told to be scared. They've been told to be concerned for the future of democracy. They don't even know what that means. They lob, like your B story. They lob the word fascist and Nazi and Hitler out there, and they don't understand what they're saying, but they've heard it enough because the repetition is there, that they see the chaos that is being manufactured around what I played at the beginning of the show in 2011, exactly what the Obama administration was going to do and put Joe Biden in charge of it. Manufactured chaos for the purpose of political gain, even at the cost of the destruction of democracy, which is highly ironic when you look at the party who ousted the current president as the candidate to run for his second term and replaced the candidate with Kamala Harris without letting anybody cast a vote for her. You want to talk about ending democracy? I don't even want to talk about it because she lost. So it seems like yesterday, but Sit down. Sit this one out, guys. You don't even know what you're talking about. Go get a dictionary and start reading words and definitions. Joe Concha is going to come on and talk to us on a Friday afternoon. Excited to have him join us. I'm going to ask him that question, our YouTube live chat poll question, from the jump. Who's the MVP of the Trump team right now out of Elon Musk, RFK Jr., J.D. Vance, and Marco Rubio? Those are your choices on the Annie Fry YouTube live broadcast right now. The poll is in the live chat portion. Your vote and your thoughts in the comments, and Joe Concha's thoughts next.
I got a good job. I work hard.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
I go flying down that highway to that hideaway, stuck out in the woods to do the boogie.
So air comfort service on a day like today, it's lovely outside. Why am I inside? Well, it's because I have to be. I'm working, and you are too probably right now. If you're in your car, if you're taking a later lunch, and you got the windows down, you know that warm air is set in. Air comfort service is there to keep you cool in the warm months and warm in the winter months. And you need to make sure that they are there to protect your comfort zone, whether it's in your home or in your place of business. Air Comfort Service is very proud to, for over 55 years, be servicing places just like yours to make sure that comfort zone is reliable. 314-513-0091 is the number to call directly. If you're a business owner, a building manager, operations manager, maybe you're an office manager that's recently been told that your HVAC system needs repair, a reminder to call 314-513-0091 and get a free second opinion on a heat exchanger or compressor repair. 314-513-0091 for your comfort zone at work and at home. Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation is there to provide for you. AirComfortService.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Today, we're the largest injury firm in the world, and I'm thankful to you for trusting us all these years. We'll always be here for the people, not the powerful. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Lifestyles Unlimited, the education and mentoring group with a roadmap and support to help you real estate retire.
Having the consulting team, having other avenues within your whole system is what's made y'all successful. Everyone is there to guide you to be successful. So it's just up to you to get off the butt and do it.
Do it. Take action today. Get educated now at Lifestyles Unlimited. Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007. Join for $297, a 60% savings. Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gsLHonorFlight.org. And for HVAC services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Friday afternoon, it's our second stop on the Fish Fry Friday tour. We're live from the Knights of Columbus Fish Fry in Cottleville. It all starts at 3.
The Mark Reardon Show. Weekdays from 3 to 6. Right here on 97.1 FM Talk.
What you know, Joe?
I don't know nothing.
What you know, Joe?
Tell me something.
What you know, Joe?
Ain't conniving.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Don't know Latin.
What you know, Joe?
Ain't high-hatting.
What you know, Joe?
I ain't fooling.
The party of inaction, the Democrats have failed to protect the interests of the American people. And you know why, Dems suck at messaging? Because they never talking about nothing. And they do nothing. So guess what? To me, they all got to go. Like Dems don't just have a messaging problem. They got a leadership problem. The Chuck Schumers of the world, the Hakeem Jeffries, they should all step down. And any Dem who is, like, how can you say the bill sucks, but you're passing it anyway? Like, you're not going to even try to, present something different? Right. Try to negotiate nothing? It sucks, but we're going to pass it anyway.
Oh, what you know, Joe?
Joe Concha, Fox News contributor.
Fox News contributor in his book, The Greatest Comeback Ever, Inside Trump's Big, Beautiful Campaign, coming out in the next month, April. And Joe's with us today. Joe, welcome back to the show. Happy Friday.
It is a happy Friday, isn't it, Annie? I mean, boy, the drama in Washington right now.
Yeah.
It's like watching Jersey Shore or like, The Real World, where everybody got along in like the first episode of the season, and now the whole thing's imploding. And we're talking about Democrats this time.
I was reading the tweets coming out from like Aisha Hasni and some Ryan Schmelz of both of Fox News talking about Kirsten Gillibrand losing her stuff behind a closed-door meeting. People outside the doors could hear her yelling about not shutting down the government. Now we see Chuck Schumer said, okay, I've got two bad options, but the least bad is to vote for the CR. What do you make of the Democrat Party right now? Nancy Pelosi has said you shouldn't vote for this bill.
I think that they're in a lose-lose situation, Annie. So if they're successful in shooting down this bill, and remember, Republicans have to get to 60 votes in the Senate, meaning they need 8 votes from the Democrat side because Rand Paul has said he won't vote for it. And with Chuck Schumer saying he's going to vote for it and John Fetterman, there'll probably be a couple more that follow along. But let's say the bill still falls short in the Senate. Then the government shuts down. And guess who gets blamed for it finally this time will be the Democrats, right? Because they all voted against the bill. And if the bill passes, then the civil war that's happening right now will just completely exacerbate itself, and it's going to get even worse as far as AOC running to like every microphone she possibly could, talking about how horrible Schumer is, and Jasmine Crockett, they're going to give her more airtime, which is never a good thing for this party. So overall, no matter what happens, if you're a Republican, just sit back with some popcorn and some tequila and just be like, oh, this is fun.
The one scenario I see playing out that makes me scratch my head a little bit here with this CR is that the Democrats come up with 7 votes, 7 people who say we're going to do this, and then they come up 1 vote short and they try to pin it on Rand Paul and the Republicans. Do you think they could do that?
Yeah, they'll pin it on Rand Paul, exactly. I guess. I don't know. I think that's when you still have 52 out of 53, that's a pretty good ratio. So this is Rand Paul, right?
Yeah.
He's like the Thomas Massey, but on the Senate side, right? Just, okay, I'm going to vote against it because I'm going to take a stand, even though the bottom line is that this is something that Democrats actually supported before January 20th, right? This is basically Biden's bill, right? And
yes,
the only reason why we're talking about it now is because the federal budget is done every September 30th. So they're only opposing it because the only thing they know is if Trump likes it, then it must be bad. So if Trump salutes the girl who has brain trauma at the joint session of Congress because she got hit in the head with a volleyball that was hit by a man who shouldn't have been playing a woman's sport, they can't even clap for that. They can't clap for the kid, 13 years old, who had 13 brain surgeries because he has brain cancer. Can't clap for that. They're just opposed uniformly to everything. And I think you were playing Charlemagne before.
Yeah.
Charlemagne the God, the radio host, outspoken, obviously African-American host, no filter there. And he's right. Democrats never offer a solution, it seems, these days. It's Festivus. It's an airing of grievances, like every day. But then what's your solution? Well, Trump sucks, and Elon is going to steal my money. No, that's not working. That's why Democrats right now, Quinnipiac had a poll out recently, 20% approval for the Democratic Party. It's the lowest in the polls history. So that's where this party stands. No Senate, no House, no presidency, no Supreme Court. More states are governed by Republicans than Democrats. There is nothing on the scoreboard that's going their way right now.
Is the only way for them to get some footing back is to start figuring out places they can work with Republicans?
Yeah, precisely. Like one easy one was, maybe men shouldn't play against women in sports.
Yeah.
Right? And when the bill comes up, every single senator votes against it, right? Even Fetterman, who's supposed to be like the reasonable, the voice of reason, well, he still voted against it, right? And then in the House, 206 House members on the Democratic side voted against it. It's like, that's an 80-20 issue. What are you doing? Or when Trump actually is trying to get peace in Ukraine, so he gets Ukraine to agree to a ceasefire, Russia in principle to agree to a ceasefire, gets everybody to the table, and he may have a peace deal. You'd think they'd say something good about it, like, yeah, the killing should stop. Yeah, it is a stalemate. Yeah, we can't spend hundreds of billions of dollars there anymore. Nope, can't do it. So they're so wrapped up in the resistance because I think ultimately they're allowing their emotions to get to them, and no one's thinking clearly. Plus, there's no leader of the party, right? You think it's Hakeem Jeffries. You think it's not Chuck Schumer, not the Senate Minority Leader anymore. That's certainly for sure. So I don't know how they change this at this point. Somebody's going to have to emerge, like an Obama type from 2004, I guess, in a time machine, come forward and be like, be the Democratic nominee, I guess, but that's years from now. And when you look at the Senate, Annie, I mean, you have 3 Democratic senators retiring.
Yeah.
And those become open seats in states that Trump won. So they're going to lose even more seats in the Senate. They could lose more in the House if Trump is able to right the ship as far as like the tariffs and get the stock market back on track. All I know is inflation's come down and egg prices are lower again and gas prices are way down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so all the indicators, if you just take the stock market out of it, and the stock market's having a great day today, Trump's been as successful as any president you could possibly imagine in his first 7 weeks because, oh, yeah, look at the border. Like, there's more people on this radio interview right now than crossed the border today. Let's put it that way.
So we're speaking with Joe Concha right now, Fox News contributor. I want to ask you about the factor here. I think I know what the missing piece is, why the Democrats don't know how to make this work. I think the Trump card that they've always had, no pun intended, in the media, whatever is happening, they've always had a messenger out there that could spin it in a way that was advantageous to them. And one of two things happened. Either they lost that connection or people stopped listening and watching. And you're an expert on this. The left-leaning, agenda-driven media out there, how are they doing?
Well, you're right about that. The old formula was, okay, Democrats make up a lie. There is no evidence for it. The media spreads it. Politicians echo it. A narrative is established. The public believes it, and the damage is done. Now, no one's listening to your point. It's going to be B. I'm going to take door number 2 on this one. Nobody's listening to the messenger anymore. I mean, you look at CNN's numbers. I mean, I can't get over the fact that I got to read about Caitlin Collins and Abby Phillip every day like it's like they say the most profound things ever. And then I look at their numbers, and they can't even get 600,000 people watching in primetime, yet they're in nearly 100 million homes. Now, think about that for a minute. What's 600,000? That means they're averaging, let's see, we have 50 states. I don't know. That's about, what, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm doing the math. 10, 12,000 people per state. Per state are watching that network. Yes, whenever you
That's
see...
That's a small town.
Oh, that is exactly.
That's a small town.
What's St. Louis's population? About 700,000-800,000?
I was thinking it was around 6 or 7, so probably close to that.
Yeah. So more people live in your city than watch that network in the entire country. It's quite remarkable. And then the New York Times, you see, subscriptions are way down. Washington Post lost $100 million last year. They lost 300,000 subscribers. So, yeah, I just don't think the messenger is listened to anymore. And it's more about radio shows like yours and podcasts like Joe Rogan's. Oh, there's one survivor in all this in the legacy media. I guess if you want to call us legacy media, and that's Fox News, where our numbers just keep going up, which is amazing. And even Gutfeld, is beating now combined Kimmel and Colbert. It used to be like he'd beat Colbert by a little bit. Now he's beating Colbert and Kimmel combined. So that's how that's going, by the way.
I don't know if you sit down and you watch these shows on the networks they're on and consume, because that's part of your hazard pay job. But I don't ever sit down and I should watch Colbert tonight. I only see it through clips. And admittedly, from conservatives on social media platforms who are like, you got to see what Colbert did. So it's kind of a voyeuristic way of consuming the media. I'm curious. I'm sure you don't have these numbers off the top of your head, but how many people are actually consuming what they're doing who are kind of like hate watching or even, we're on the winning side now, so it's easier to take in what some of these different Kimmel or Colbert or who's the really angry guy? This little guy who's on late at night. Seth Meyers. Yeah, you knew what I was talking about.
So
it's just there's no joy. There's nothing funny. It's not entertaining. It's just misery loves company, and I'm just not part of it.
Yeah, it's weird. This deli that I go into fairly often, they don't have cable. So they have on their TV the Letterman channel. I don't know where this exists. It's like one of those things that pipes into your TV without needing cable. Don't ask me how you get this or where it is.
Magic.
So every day I walk in, there's stupid pet chicks going on. And I'm like, oh, I remember this. This is really funny. And I started watching it with my kids as well. I'm like, that's entertainment. Or they have the best of Letterman interviews where you actually have on funny people, or when Carson would have Rickles on, for example. Now you look at Stephen Colbert, and guests are tonight Bernie Sanders and Jake Tapper. You're like, what? The last thing I want to see, Nicole Wallace. Oh, so it's basically an extension of MSNBC, these shows, right? And they got 17 writers, so they can be a little bit funny, I guess, sometimes, but 99% of the jokes are about Trump. How is that funny after a while? The same thing over and over again. And not like Trump's just been in office 7 weeks, so it's like a fresh face. This has been going on for 10 years.
Yes, yeah. It's just one big bowl of sad.
Yeah, exactly. A whole bowl of sad, a whole bowl of wrong, and 31 flavors is stupid.
I wanted to ask you this question before we let you go. We're speaking with Joe Concha right now. We ask a poll question every day on our YouTube live broadcast, and it's who is the MVP of the Trump team right now? YouTube restricts me to 4 options. So I know there are a lot of players right now who are making everything great again. we have Elon Musk, RFK Jr., J.D. Vance, and Marco Rubio, and they all serve very different purposes, and I think they kind of represent different wings of people who came together to get Donald Trump elected to make this all a possibility. Who do you give the MVP to right now in this administration?
Ooh, that's tough. That's a really hard one. I picked the wrong week to stop sniffing glue. How am I going to do this?
Hurry, take a hit.
So my options are Vance, Rubio, Elon, and Trump?
RFK Jr. No, Trump.
Oh, RFK Jr.
Yeah.
Oh.
RFK Jr. I'll throw him in there.
Boy, it's tight between Musk and Rubio, I think. Rubio, I think, has been so outstanding in like every interview. He is, I sound like an old man when I say this, getting Marco's my age, but he's matured so much. Like he used to be so rehearsed, right, when he ran in 2016. Now, like, he is so confident in the way he presents himself on the world stage. In every interview he does, he schools whoever he's interviewing. That's certainly for sure.
Yep.
But JD has been, let's put it this way. When I interviewed the president, Trump, not too long ago, I said, has J.D. Vance, did he exceed your expectations? He goes, oh, yeah, by like 200%. And it's true. I mean, every interview he does, he's great also. So I'm kind of looking at it through a media prism. But in terms of accomplishment, in terms of Rubio, what he's done with the Ukrainians and Russia, I think it's Rubio.
Yeah. And then you got Elon Musk, who is out there doing yeoman's work when he could be running, bazillion-dollar companies and sending rockets to Mars or whatever it is that he does.
Oh, yeah.
It's a difficult choice, but I think it's a good testament to the administration's capabilities less than 2 months into their administration.
I changed my mind. It's Elon Musk.
It's Elon Musk.
Yeah. That's such a hard job. He's the pain sponge now at this point. Where he's got to cut things that people want. And the people that want these things are mainly federal employees and Democrats, right? Because you see all the things that are being benefited from USAID, for example. So, to do this and to run those companies at the same time, boy, I mean, the things he's uncovered, I thought it would find some stuff. It has just been remarkable, the things they've uncovered through Doge. So, all right, I changed my mind. It's Elon Musk by a hair over Rubio, but the other two choices, JD and RFK Jr., have been outstanding too. Overall, I mean, Trump got every cabinet member in that people thought never would get confirmed, and here we are.
All right, well, that is the state of affairs in Washington, D.C., and things are looking up for the Trump administration, but they do have a lot of work to do, and they got to see all these things through. Joe, you're always great to have on to give us the insight. We appreciate your time again today.
Happy
Friday.
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, all right, we'll take that. Ides of March, right? Coming up here.
Oh,
Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you, Joe. Joe Concha, Fox News contributor, the greatest comeback ever inside Trump's big, beautiful campaign coming up in April. Make sure you go get that book. And I know that the McDonald's photo is on the cover of that book, and you want to display that on your shelf. I'm just telling you this. You should totally read the book, but you need to buy the book and just put it in the background. When people walk into your office, they'll know. And they'll comment on it. It'd be a really great way to kind of learn more about people. How many people comment on the book one way or the other? You'll find out real fast. Everybody loves the McDonald's photo, right? Get Joe Concha's book as it comes out in April. When we return, Congressman Eric Burlison on the Annie Fry Show. Of course, he's Missouri's 7th Congressional District Representative. He's a member of the House Oversight Committee, the Freedom Caucus, and a member of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. And we're going to catch up with him. Lots going on in Capitol Hill. Always good to have a congressman on the show. We'll be right back.
Don't dig you.
What you know, Joe?
Hey, stop your squawking. Just ain't talking.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
CiviaLaw.com. If you were looking for your estate planning to get done, you've thought about it, it's in the back of your brain. Every time it kind of bubbles up into your thought process again, you try to push it away because it makes you uncomfortable, makes you nervous, makes you think thoughts that are, uncomfortable. You're thinking about what happens to me if my spouse dies? What happens to my spouse if I die? What if we both pass away? Maybe you have dependents. If you have people who are dependent on you and you haven't done an estate plan yet, please, 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 I implore you, take care of them. This is for them, not for you. Get in contact with Civia Law and get something super basic put into place to care for your loved ones, your children. 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL. Civia Law in Missouri and Illinois can guide you through your estate planning needs. If you want a trust, the whole thing, if you just need the will, the testament, the powers of attorney, that type of stuff established, they're there to guide you through this. I went in with my husband to Civia Law and got our trust established, and you need to do that. Make that phone call and be relieved. Have that peace of mind after you're complete with your first strategy session. 2 weeks to completed documents. 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL, CiviaLaw.com.
When you have Rhino Shield on your house, it does a couple of things for you. It beautifies the house, and it protects it from the harshest elements. And boy, do we see those here in the greater St. Louis area. You get instant curb appeal. It will stick to anything. Rhino Shield is the answer, no matter whether you're painting a home or a church or a business or a condo, because it's 100% waterproof. It takes care of the outdoor maintenance on whatever is on the outside of your home. The brick, the block, aluminum, steel, stucco. They can put this on with the 2 to 3 coat process. They're there about a week, and they do a great job. A lot of businesses have done it in the area. Several Firestones have done that. Vantage Credit Union over the years. Harlan Packaging down in DeSoto. Call Darren today and schedule your free estimate. 877-25-RHINO. Easy to remember phone number. Or go online today at 877-25-RHINO.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
There's nothing like it. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and the timeless voice of Cardinals baseball.
A swing, and there's a high fly ball. That's hit the deep left field. It might go. It's a gunner.
Now, you can experience every pitch, every play, every win in crystal clear FM sound.
Big fly, Alec Burlison.
Starting March 24th, tune in to 104.1 FM KMOX, the voice of the Cardinals, now stronger than ever.
Today's YouTube live chat poll: who is the MVP of the Trump team right now? Elon Musk, RFK Jr., JD Vance, or Marco Rubio? Be sure to go watch the Annie Fry Show on YouTube and vote on that YouTube live chat poll. The time is 1:45. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. We all have different ideas of the perfect retirement, but they all depend on the same thing: not running out of money. And preparing for retirement can sometimes be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Find out how you could build your retirement on your terms. Join host Steve All for the All Financial Hour Saturday mornings at 6 here on 97.1 FM Talk.
You can also visit yourmoneymattersstl.com for more details.
Brian Kilmeade here, and I'll be there on Saturday, March 22nd. Jot that down, at the Factory in Chesterfield, in this engaging motivational journey through America's past. Tickets available at 971talk.com/events.
Sponsored by Bob and Tammy Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group. This is the Annie Fry Show. This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
We have great responsibilities continuing to fight for democracy and to strengthen democracy and to take care of the least of these. Not only black people, we take care of everybody with our votes. I'm worried that Trump is on the edge of creating a civil war.
Is that so, Congressman or woman Maxine Waters, excuse me? She's worried about civil war? What is it that Donald Trump is doing to create it? Maybe I'm missing something here in sitting in St. Louis, Missouri about what's going in Washington, D.C. What is he doing to create a civil war, especially when she's invoking race right there? I mean, that's a pretty strong, significant allegation. Let's talk to somebody who is there and able to maybe give us a Washington, D.C. perspective. Congressman Eric Burlison back with us, Missouri 7th Congressional District Representative. Congressman, welcome back to the show. Thanks for being with us today.
Hey, it's great to be on.
You know, when you hear Maxine Waters, I don't know if you'd heard that clip yet, she said she's worried that Trump is on the edge of creating a civil war. The Republicans were able to get the CR passed in the House with one Democrat vote, obviously not with Thomas Massie. The Democrats are trying to figure out their stuff in the Senate right now. Does it feel like civil war is upon us due to Donald Trump in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, I think people are kind of sick of the hyperbolic rhetoric. I mean, people have seen, watch, for example, that State of the Union address where Trump did things that are, every reasonable human being, would applaud, things like the child with cancer, and watched how the Democrats acted, and I think that they have seen their attitude, and I think that they're calling him out. And the truth is, if anything would spur civil war, I'll tell you what the Democrats did, trying to throw a political opponent, the number one leading political opponent for president, in jail, suing him multiple times, and the assassination attempts. Not that it was done by the Democratic Party, but certainly some Democrats were involved in that. But this, you talk about civil war, that's the kind of activity. We're trying to put an end to that. We're trying to put an end to the use of the justice system for political reasons and just return to normalcy.
Yeah. I think that the hyperbole it's dangerous, but it seems like it's what the Democrats have to rely on right now. They haven't found I have yet to hear the Democrats contrast what they don't like about Donald Trump with what they would do instead. There's no discussion of that whatsoever. The name Donald Trump evokes such great emotion and disgust and hatred that I feel like the hyperbole is what they've relied on, because in the past there are people who definitely go to the ballot box because they're voting against Donald Trump. The name Donald Trump causes such a reaction in people that it moves people to action. But, the last election shows that maybe that doesn't work as effectively anymore. And I guess Maxine Waters is trying to play on old tricks. I mean, what would you like to see from the Democrats right now? Do you have any advice for what they should do to get their party in order?
I miss the days when the Democratic Party stood for some common sense things. I was in the oversight committee. I was debating, some of the most ardent Democrats in Congress. You have, Crawford, you've got Ocasio-Cortez, and they're screaming about these Doge cuts and finding waste, fraud, and abuse. And so I played a video from Bill Clinton and Al Gore and Barack Obama all talking about their efforts to find and root out waste, fraud, and abuse. And so if we just return to the Clinton era policies of trying to streamline government, that would be something that the Democratic Party today would be screaming from the high heavens about. And so I think that's why the American people, they've lost the American people.
Yeah. I think you're 100% right on that. There's an article out there by Dan Zakrzewski. We've had him on our show before. He's a writer for Outkick. And kind of to the story that we're talking about here about, you say Donald Trump and that just means something to people. And being connected to Donald Trump has definitely caused pain for other folks. If you support Donald Trump, that seems to be problematic in some terms. Well, Dan Zakrzewski for Outkick has written an article talking about a letter that you've written to Rob Manfred, who's the commissioner of Major League Baseball, suggesting a possible tie between Trevor Bauer's suspension and his kind of blackballing from baseball because Trevor Bauer supported Donald Trump. I was wondering if you could comment on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an avid baseball fan and followed this story from the beginning. And I think if you talk to anybody that's a baseball enthusiast, they all kind of shake their heads at this because it's so confusing that you have one of the most talented pitchers in the game, probably the highest paid pitcher in his prime, and won the Cy Young Award before he went through a scandal. But it turned out that he wasn't charged criminally. All the charges were dropped, and yet he received the longest suspension in the history of Major League Baseball, and it just doesn't square up. But what does square up, or makes you wonder, is we knew that he had been admonished for his very public and vocal support of Donald Trump. He had been admonished for his criticism of DEI in Major League Baseball, And he was very vocal on Twitter about some of these positions. And the question then becomes, it just, you see other players who actually did sexual assault and actually were found guilty in court, and they received a slap on the wrist, and yet Trevor Bauer basically has a lifetime ban from baseball. I want to know what is really going on there.
Yeah, if you're looking at, the punishment should fit the crime, and he has not been charged with a crime, correct? Trevor Bauer has not been charged with any crimes. We know,
in fact, his accusers have been are being prosecuted for fraud, for trying to blackmail him and committing fraud. So it's actually the opposite.
Yeah, and there's something. So I think what you're kind of drilling down on here is there are people who have done what they alleged that he did, that he certainly did not do, and that he was defrauded into people thinking that he did. There are people who actually did such a thing with a slap on the wrist, but there's something about Trevor Bauer that delineates him from these other people that's made him more problematic, and you're questioning whether or not it's his political alignment.
Yeah, I think that it's obvious that that's the only thing that distinguishes him from others, is that he's been vocal. And he wasn't just vocal about Donald Trump and about his opposition to DEI. He challenged Major League Baseball when there was clearly a scandal going on with a sticky substance. I think that he, in some ways, embarrassed, the commissioner. And I think that as a result, this is why they're punishing him in that regard. But look, he is the days of the woke and the cancel culture and all that. That is so 2000, the year 2020, right? We've moved on. America has moved on, and it's time we go back and realize that some of these people that were canceled need to have a second chance.
Yeah. Do you expect to hear back from Manfred?
I would expect that they would respond. I hope to hear a response shortly. And the questions that I have really drill down to, was there coordination between them and other Major League Baseball teams? Were their attorneys having conversations about whether or not Trevor was eligible to be picked up? So I think we have a strong list of questions that we want answers for.
Have you spoke to Trevor Bauer at all?
I have not. But he is a fascinating individual, and I think that it's just watching his story. It seems like somebody needs to stand up for the guy.
I appreciate it. I've watched Bauer Outage, which I think is his YouTube channel. I've watched his story as well. I think that nobody's perfect, and I don't think Trevor Bauer is claiming to be perfect. But I've said this before. I'd take him in a Cardinals uniform, especially right now, and like to.
Oh man!
Yeah,
absolutely.
I like to see that you're advocating for a second chance for him. So we appreciate the opportunity.
And St. Louis is the perfect place to give a guy like Trevor a second chance. The best fans in baseball that are smart enough to look past and would know the details and not succumb to all of the wild accusations. So I think I'm with you. I would love it to see the birds on the bat with Trevor Bauer.
Yeah, I 100% am with you on that. Well, Congressman Burlison, thank you for the time today. We appreciate talking to you. Keep fighting for the people of the 7th District there in Missouri. I know they appreciate you and watching the Republicans stick together while the Democrats are falling apart. We're making America great again, and you're a part of that. We're grateful for your time.
Thanks, Annie.
Take care. Bye-bye. Man, Trevor Bauer in a Cardinals jersey. I'm okay with it. That's a controversial thing. I've talked about it with to be unnamed people in this building, and some people are all for it, and other people are like, absolutely not. At the state of the off season, I'd take Trevor Bauer in a Cardinals jersey and just let him cook, right? Let him cook. We're going to talk to Dave Murray real quick when we come back and get an update. Lots of weather coming in, so much scary weather headed towards our way that even Fox News National is covering it and saying it's coming. So let's talk to Dave Murray and get the lowdown. We'll do a little next question, ask us anything. Give us your questions. We'll be right back.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks?
What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Marvin Mitchell and the team at Compass Retirement Solutions calls this mailbox money. It's a monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Marvin Mitchell and the Compass Retirement Solutions team at 314-373-1598 to start working on a plan that can help you create the monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call 314-373-1598 right now and schedule a visit with Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
Put on your dancing shoes and pick up your phones. It's time to make picks on March college basketball. And with Underdog Fantasy, you can bring that excitement to wherever you watch. Playing on their app is as easy as choosing higher or lower on a player's stat lines like points, assists, rebounds. If you're doing the NHL, it's goals. You get those picks right, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Millions of fans have already won billions on Underdog. Will you be next? Get in the game by signing up today for Underdog using the promo code MARKR. That will claim a gimme pick as part of your first cash entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus credits when you deposit. Cash in on every bucket this season with Underdog. The way to get started is to sign up for the app. Download it, get a username and a password, and then use that promo code MARKR because that's going to give you that gimme pick plus up to $1,000 in bonus credits when you make a deposit. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Void where prohibited. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
The shutdown debate isn't over yet. On Lisa Brady, Fox News. The Senate is expected to vote on a House-passed spending bill to avoid a government shutdown after Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer abandoned his push for a shorter-term proposal. But House Democrats are still pushing back.
It is a false choice that Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and House Republicans have been presenting between their reckless and partisan spending bill and a government shutdown.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says the bill will hurt the American people. Republicans say they're cleaning up a mess left by the Biden administration. In the Senate, they need at least 8 Democrat votes to break a filibuster on the bill. Current government funding runs out tonight.
We have got to take this country in a different direction, and that is what President Trump's economic policies aim to do.
Vice President J.D. Vance visiting a plastics plant in Michigan.
We are done selling out the American worker. We are done overregulating American businesses.
Reinforcing the effort to bring manufacturing jobs back to the U.S. This is a former central banker. Mark Carney is sworn in as Canada's new prime minister, aiming to steer his country through a trade war. Just getting word the Justice Department is reviewing whether protests over the Gaza war at Columbia University may have violated federal terrorism laws. Separately, President Trump is set to speak at DOJ headquarters, his first ever visit there. More than 30 states could face severe weather from a storm system hitting parts of the Great Plains with heavy snow and high winds before moving on to the Midwest.
We'll be watching St. Louis, Chicago overnight into the mid-Mississippi, and then tomorrow is when we look to the Gulf Coast into the southeast. That's when we really have our highest risk for severe weather.
Fox weather meteorologist Jane Menard says an even greater area has high wind advisories. America is listening to Fox News.
It's time to throw your overpriced big wireless contract overboard with a qualifying plan. You can choose an iPhone 14 or a Samsung Galaxy for $0. Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team will make the switch in as little as 10 minutes. No hassle, no gimmicks, just honest-to-goodness wireless price right. Dial pound 250, you say the keywords Pure Talk, claim your new iPhone or Galaxy with a qualifying purchase from Pure Talk, which is America's wireless company. Visit puretalk.com for details.
During tax season, your info travels lots of places you can't control.
W-2 arriving from payroll platform 3.
Everything criminals need to steal your identity is on your W-2.
Last call for accountant and home office, 1 minute.
LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second.
Tax preparation data centers with service to IRS. All aboard.
If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Gusty winds throughout the afternoon, and our temperatures jumping to about 81 degrees. Scattered showers and thunderstorms developing late this afternoon. Tonight, showers and storms, some strong to severe. 56 Saturday, northwest flow, partly sunny, windy 66. Sunday, partly sunny, windy and cold 49. Snow flurries around on Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for New Perspective Senior Living, where your loved one will enjoy chef-prepared meals, engaging activities, state-of-the-art technology, and a welcoming community that feels like home. Visit npseniorliving.com to schedule a tour today. New Perspective, where every day is a chance to live life on purpose. Hey guys, it's Mark Reardon. If you're struggling with low energy, performance issues, or weight gain, Game Day Men's Health has got you covered with testosterone therapy, ED treatments, and more in all of a relaxed man cave environment. At Game Day, you'll get a free testosterone test and consultation, all in just 1 hour. Game Day is the premier men's health clinic with locations in Chesterfield, O'Fallon, Missouri, and Glen Carbon, Illinois. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Get back in the game with Game Day Men's Health.
This is attorney Todd Nissenholtz of Kaufman Townsley. Victim of a car accident? Not choosing the best lawyer will cost you. But here's the good news. Since you don't pay unless we win, you can afford the very best. Kaufman Townsley. Call 314-500-5000.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-222-9599. 800-222-9599. Again, that's 800-222-9599.
Who has the most 5-star reviews in St. Louis? Is the Post-Dispatch Window Retailer of the Year, J.D. Power Award winner 5 years in a row, and has the nation's best warranty coverage? Renewal by Andersen. That's who. Find out about our huge 31-day sale at rbastl.com or call 314-332-1924. rbastl.com or 314-332-1924. Renewal by Andersen, a better way to a better window. O'Reilly Veriscan is a free check engine 600 million vehicle scans confirmed by ASE certified technicians to provide a simple report and possible fixes. Available exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Let's support Heroes Care through comedy. Annie Fry here. Join Heroes Care at the Westport Funny Bone Sunday, March 23rd for stand-up from St. Louis's own Will O'Donnell. That's Sunday, March 23rd. Learn more at 971talk.com/events.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
They got someone here knows what they're talking about.
Left up, left right, gotta love this American ride.
And you need to take some time to get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid, keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Yeah, it's always shocking that that's still the Annie Fry Show when we play that. You know that the Ryan Wiggins intro means it's 2 o'clock on a Friday, and even when Ryan Wiggins isn't here, he gets to share that treat with us. So happy Friday. We know that there's some weather coming in, and we want to go to our expert friend to talk about exactly what is coming our way. So let's get to Chief Meteorologist for 97.1, Dave Murray. Dave, thank you for a little bit of the time this afternoon. It's good to have you.
You bet. Lots going on. Now, we've got a long way to go before any thunderstorms come into the St. Louis area.
Okay.
The line is just starting to get together out in western Missouri. So, again, hours and hours to go. But this is a potent and very impressive cold front for the month of March. What's going to happen this afternoon for us, temperatures will be in the low, maybe the mid-80s. 86 is the record, and winds will be 40-plus miles per hour. Those are not thunderstorm winds. They're just the winds coming up ahead of this cold front. The focus for storms will be late Friday afternoon, and especially this evening, prime time, 4 p.m. to midnight. And in St. Louis, I think we really need to focus on like the 7 to 9 o'clock time frame. It will be explosive development. In a lot of cases, we will not see this really pulling together until it almost gets on top of us. They're going to be very fast-moving storms. They're going to have a forward motion of 60 miles per hour. So it will not be real tough to get these things to go strong to severe with a squall line. It's a fast hit. They shouldn't last any more than 20 to 30 minutes in one location. They will bring heavy downpours of rain, possibly some street flooding, intense lightning, straight line winds of 60 to 80 miles per hour, producing wind damage of trees, roofs, and power lines. Limited hail, but there will be pockets of hail that will range from pea to golf ball size, and isolated tornadoes. But with that said, there's a possibility of long-track tornadoes with this system, and be prepared for power outages. Not everybody is going to see severe weather. That rarely happens in the St. Louis area. It kind of happens in pockets, but we need to be prepared. Don't take this lightly. I don't want to hype this thing out of control, but this is a pretty strong event for the St. Louis area, and it kind of happens in a weird time as it's starting to get dark. So the prime time for us, 7 to 9 p.m. Earlier, the further west you go. Later, the further east you go. It will be moving west to east across the area, and it's fast. It's very fast.
So up until the time that it hits, is it going to, I mean, it's a gorgeous day outside right now. I'd love to be outside.
It's going to be gorgeous.
And is it this and then it's not? Or are we going to be able to see it coming in and then we're going to prepare?
We're not going to see, we're not going to be able to look like in central Missouri and say, all right, there's a big long line of thunderstorms coming for us. Be a broken line at that point, and it really pulls together probably between Columbia and Wentzville, and that's when we'll start to notice. I mean, these things never just pop up as surprises. We know they're coming, but we just have to pay attention to the weather, pay attention to the sky, and even though not everybody will see it, we need to know our safe locations, what we're going to do when the storms move in. And again, they are going to produce a lot of wind. We have a lot of wind already, but as these things move in, and that's probably my biggest concern, are straight line winds up to 80 miles per hour. And that can do a lot of damage quickly.
Yeah, that's no joke, 80 miles an hour. I saw several people on Facebook saying, anybody have an extra space for my car to park in their garage right now? People are preparing ahead of time. What other types of things would you suggest? It's 2 o'clock right now. We've got maybe 4 or 5 hours before things start to get rowdy. What do we need to be doing?
Yeah, just the biggest thing is, I like cars in the garage. This is not a huge hail maker, but it is a wind damage type situation. So trees will come down, branches will come down. I would just be prepared for power outages, and possibly long-lasting power outages as this stuff comes through. And the other is just pay attention to what's going on around us. And don't do the St. Louis thing when the tornado sirens go off. Don't go running outside and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Get to the basement. Get to the lowest possible point you can.
Dave, I used to do that. I grew up kind of in the country and had a big, wide open view of the western horizon. I actually went with my husband to help clean up after the Joplin tornado. And I'm like, everybody in the basement now. As soon as you know it's happening, there's no messing around with stuff like that.
There is. And one thing that's going to happen with these is that if a tornado forms, it may not be a clear-cut situation. It may be rain-wrapped, so you may not even see it. So, again, take the warnings, appropriately in the St. Louis area, and especially if the sirens go off. That's the time. That's the time to know your safe location. It's not the time to think, oh, man, what am I going to do? What do I do now?
Yeah, exactly. Be prepared. Dave, what time is this going to be through our area? What time are we done?
I think, again, the big window of 4 p.m. to midnight is across the entire listening area. I think St. Louis's window is 7 to 9 p.m., And once the storms hit, now there'll be some rain behind it, but it'll be just rain, but not a lot of that. The storms will only last about 10 to 20 minutes. So once a storm hits your neighborhood or hits around your location, know that it's going to be about 20 to 30 minutes, and then that's done. That will be it.
All right. Dave, I know you're a parent, and I'll be honest, whenever I hear storms like this, I've got a 3-year-old, but, some of the older kids, they don't love storms. So I'm always thinking, like, how many kids do I fit in the bed with me at night when the storm set in?
Oh, yeah.
What did you do as a parent? Were you always at work when these things were happening? How'd you handle scary storms?
Almost always at work, but I brought my son is now 42 years old, but we have a 5-year-old grandson who just happens to be here right now. And, is to respect the weather.
Yeah.
Don't be fearful of the weather. Respect the weather and know what to do. I've trained all my dogs that way too. My dogs love to go storm chasing. They're just into it. And the biggest thing is don't be fearful. Don't be scared of it. Be prepared for it.
Yeah, that's really, really strong. That's really good advice. Exactly. The respect for the weather is an important thing. Dave, thank you for the drop in here. We appreciate it. St. Louis will be more prepared for it. We'll talk to you again soon.
Anytime.
Take care. Bye-bye. I just look at storms and I think, I wrote these down. 4 p.m. to midnight is the long form range, but more 7 to 9 for the downtown St. Louis stuff. I'm on the east side, so it's probably going to be, in my mind, I always add like an hour to whatever that time frame is, just having to be on the east side. But if it's a 2 a.m. proposition, oh my gosh, we're going to have a room full of people. One adds to the other depending on how windy it is, the storm collapse, the overall magnitude of the thing. It's important to be prepared for it and to kind of know we're not going to get any sleep tonight. Let's shift over to what is going on with the Democrats. I think that they're about to take a test vote. Chad Pergram was just giving an update. Let's listen into what's taking place on
They're about
Capitol
to start this test vote, and if they get to 60 votes on this test vote, there is not going to be a government shutdown. They will then vote sometime later this afternoon or this evening to align with the House of Representatives, and there won't be a shutdown. The deadline is 11:59 p.m. Eastern time tonight. However, if they don't get 60 votes, there is going to be a shutdown, and I'm told that one of the reasons why Chuck Schumer was willing to go along and try to vote in favor of this was because there was concern that if the government were to shut down, just not all the bad things that he believes would happen with Elon Musk and President Trump and maybe permanently furloughing other workers around federal agencies, but they may never have the right combination to reopen the government. So the question now is whether or not Chuck Schumer and John Fetterman, the Democrat from Pennsylvania, can cobble together 6 other Democrats and get to 60. It would be hard to believe that Chuck Schumer, based on that statement and that speech last night and that decision, that he would not have some of those votes lined up. If that's the case, then that would be an incredible miscalculation politically by Chuck Schumer. As it's sometimes said in politics, a leader who has no followers is just somebody who's out for a walk. So we'll see whether or not he has some of those followers tonight, and that would extinguish a government shutdown. But I want to underscore the dissonance right now between Democrats over this issue and Chuck Schumer. There was just a press conference with Hakeem Jeffries and the rest of the Democratic leadership. They were having their retreat in suburban Virginia, came back to the Capitol really just to say we're opposed to this and we implore Senate Democrats to vote against this. During that press conference, Chuck Schumer was kind of the target. He was the elephant in the room, and Hakeem Jeffries was asked on multiple occasions, and I'll just read you the questions here. Have you lost confidence? Hakeem Jeffries said, next question. In other words, had you lost confidence in Chuck Schumer? Then there was a question to Jeffries about Schumer. Is this a time for new leadership in the Senate? And he said, next question. So after the press conference, I tried to talk to Hakeem Jeffries in the hallway, and I said, why are you reluctant to say anything about Chuck Schumer? And he said, don't characterize or mischaracterize my language. I said, I'm not. I'm just asking what you were going to say there about Chuck Schumer. So there's a lot of clash between Democrats right now over Chuck Schumer's decision. Martha?
So Chad Pergram reporting there from Capitol Hill. And this vote is going to be underway. We're going to watch it very closely here in the 2 o'clock hour. If we don't get to it, of course, the Mark Reardon Show, Fish Fry Friday is upon us. Ethan's going to be running the show here from the studio. And, of course, they're going to be out Ethan, do you know, I'm putting you on the spot here, which location they're at today?
They're in Cottleville today.
So people can come out and go out and see them?
Yes.
It's
polling. I'm getting the.
It's Assumption Paris.
Assumption, yeah.
It's 4725 Mattis Road in St. Louis.
Brad
you got
memorized.
the cheat sheet. I was like,
no, he has that in his memory. He's just prepared.
For a second, I was like,
it's not even his show.
What kind of psychic powers do you have, dude? Then I noticed you looking at the same direction Mark Reardon looks every day.
I could have just asked Brad. Apparently, I didn't know that.
He's just better than me.
That's okay.
No, I have a cheat sheet.
Don't admit it. Cottleville, fish fry. Go see Mark Reardon.
Yeah.
It's at Assumption Parish?
Assumption Parish at 4725 Mattis Road.
I guess they said that they've talked this week a lot about it. They've been here a couple of times. They really like this location. Really good food. They even you can go and things don't really get started until around 5 o'clock as far as like serving dinner, but they let you go in there. You can watch the Reardon Roundtable in the 3 o'clock hour.
Do you know who's on the round table?
Yes, Jane Duker is on as I pull up the other guests.
Never mind, Brad.
As we speak.
It's going to be Jane Duker.
Jane Duker.
Mark Reardon.
Attached with, Jeff Smith and Nick Schroer.
There you go. Can't miss that.
That's going to be a banger.
All right. Well, I want to take a quick break here. When we come back, you ready to do a little next question?
Let's do it.
Okay. If you have Ask Us Anything questions, go put them in the YouTube live chat. You can also vote in the live chat poll. It's a little bit of a toughie today. Who is the MVP of the Trump team right now? Elon Musk, RFK Jr., J.D. Vance, or Marco Rubio? Who will be your choice? Annie Fry YouTube live chat. You find that on our live broadcast right now. The poll is in today's live chat. Next question, next segment on the Annie Fry Show.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Well, homeowners, it seems as if everybody who wanted to sell their home last year is finally starting to take action now. If you're ready to sell, I strongly recommend you call my friend and St. Louis real estate expert, Gloria Liu, with your home sold guaranteed realty. Mark Cox here. Why should Gloria be your first call? Well, let's ask the O'Neill family. Gloria sold their home for $30,000 over list price. Or the Krupp family. Gloria sold their home over one weekend for $25,000 over asking price. Or maybe the Cox family, who received multiple offers and sold for $20,000 over the list price, which, by the way, was the highest sales price for the subdivision ever. You get my point. Not every home sells over list price, but one thing is for sure, Gloria Liu is going to get you the most money possible for your home, and she'll guarantee your agreed-upon price. Call her today at 314-325-6888 or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Hey, Jimmy Fallon here with a quick listening tip for you. If you miss Fox Across America or any of your other Fox News favorites, do not worry. I got you covered. You can stream previously aired shows with Rewind, available exclusively on the free Odyssey app. So if you're busy work days, it doesn't mean you have to miss out on the news. Listen to your Fox shows on your time with Odyssey. To get started, just download the free Odyssey app and search for Fox News Radio. That's Odyssey, A-U-D-A-C-Y. I'm spelling it out in case you're a little slow like me.
I want Brian Kilmeade here with a great announcement, especially everybody here at KFTK. St. Louis, I'm coming to you. March 22nd at the factory on stage. You're going to love this unscripted affair. It's going to be patriotic, inspirational, motivational. I'll go through all my books, give you the anecdotes inside Fox. We'll go over the news, the war on history, and the comeback of this guy, Donald Trump. Mark Reardon's going to join me on stage. Maybe some surprises in the lineup. But most of all, I want to see you. BrianKilmeade.com. Click on tickets. March 22nd at the factory.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Time to schedule your air conditioner service. Get your entire HVAC system checked for $19 a month with the preferred partner plan and be ready for the first heat wave. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Since we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see and hear lots of lawyer ads. It seems that most are bragging on what they got their clients. But be careful. If you heard that someone sold their car for $500,000, you would be impressed. But if you later learned that it was a rare $10 million Ferrari, would you say that person got screwed? And that's before you even know if it's true. Who is fact-checking? And how much went to medical bills and lawyers' fees? If you want to get an idea what your case may be really worth, visit forthepeople.com and go to Settlements and Verdicts. You will see what a law firm like ours is capable of, and fact check for yourself. All that glitters is not gold. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason. We won big, a lot. At Morgan & Morgan, we represent consumers. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
If you use a smart speaker, you can listen to 97.1 easier than ever. Just tell it to play 97.1 FM Talk. Or download the Odyssey app for your phone and stream the station whenever, wherever.
Said you hated the ocean, but you're surfing now. I said I love you for life, but I just sold our house.
This is The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
But not everything works out. No, now I'm out dancing with strangers. You could be casually dating. Damn, it's all changing so fast. I see it, love it, I see it. Yeah, that's just life, baby. Yeah, love came around and it knocked me down, but I'm back on my feet. I see it, love it.
Next question. It's a legitimate question.
Next question.
Next question, please.
Next question on The Annie Fry Show.
So, somebody, I don't think this was supposed to be part of next question, but Charles said, Annie, is Wiggins a paid sidekick or is he just gravy training? I just answered him on the chat because I thought he was just asking. I forgot we were doing this. No, he's a full-time paid co-host. He's also, I think, the imaging director for the station. He's a real employee and a good one and a great dad. Next question, Brad.
Okay, so I've got one here. What seemingly petty thing makes you feel irrationally upset?
Mine would be people chewing vocally, audibly. And when people don't turn their microphones on.
Microphones help. Mine would be when people hold up traffic in the left lane. That drives me crazy. Like, let me pass.
Do you?
Get out of the way.
Okay, so you finally get to go around them.
Uh-huh.
Do you do like the full 90-degree turn, stare at them because you want to know who the perpetrator, like what they look like? Yes, you do. That's a yes. You can't hear the very, very, very guilty smile on his face, but I see it.
Depends if worship music is playing or not.
Does that make you feel more emboldened when you sin boldly, Ethan Hannaford?
I feel more convicted to just move on and not let my pissy mood affect my brief, very short interaction with someone when I'm driving by them, I feel like.
I can't stress enough how important it is when you're driving, whatever emotions you have, they got to stay inside.
Yeah.
And I say this as somebody who's been on the other end of a gun point because of other people's road rage. Like, keep your business to yourself. If you've got to mouth things to yourself and smile and just focus on the road the whole time, then do that. But you don't need to do the breakneck, I just want to know what this idiot looks like. You don't need to do that.
Yeah, I feel like it's gotten better. There were definitely times when it was like, full 90-degree turn, just like deep glare.
Yeah.
But there's also, now it's kind of more so just like it's a very quick kind of like 45-degree angle. Like, who am I looking at here? Like, all right, are you aware of what you're doing?
In my mind, I'm not going to let anyone know they even affected my day.
Good for you. You're a better person than me.
It's not based on my internal thoughts.
Sure.
But I just keep them internal. That is a lesson that I've learned. What about you, Brad?
I was just going to say the exact same thing that Ethan said. It's so irrational how upset I get whenever people just are driving in that left lane where they're right alongside of the traffic along to their right and nobody's going anywhere, and I want to go home, so please move out of my way, please, please, please. But on the flip side of that is, too, have you guys ever been like surprised whenever you're pulling up and you're coming up and the person like notices that you're coming up faster than they're moving and they just move out of your way? You go by and then they move back over?
This is probably unpopular, but if the speed limit is 70 and I'm going 78, 79, maybe 80, whatever, and someone comes bearing down on me 90 miles an hour, I'm not moving I'm not like risking peril to get out of your irresponsible driving way. Like
I think that's fair.
I think people who drive, if you're driving mid 80s or above that, and your recklessness is offended by I'm already speeding, and it's if you're just driving in the left lane, that's a whole problem. But if you're driving in traffic, I drive 55, 70 home every day, and I'm not going slow, and somebody is driving insanely fast and tailing me, like, I'm going to want to get out of that situation to keep myself safe. But that irresponsible driver doesn't have an entitlement to the left lane because they're being psychopathic about it.
Yeah, I feel like you can drive, in that speed range and not be reckless also, though. Like,
Yes.
sometimes people they just have the cruise control set and they're coasting, but they're not driving recklessly. I agree with you. For the people that are all over the place, back and forth, changing lanes, like, I have mine set on usually 75, 80. Like, you can go around me. But if people look like they're driving responsibly, I'll get over, let you go through, and I'll go back.
Yeah, I agree. Next question. You got one, Ethan?
What's your guys' favorite thing about, like, in a humble manner, what is your favorite quality or characteristic about yourself?
Oh, God.
This is hard.
What's yours?
I didn't know if you're talking to me or Brad.
No, you, Ethan.
This is how this works.
Yeah, I don't think it is, though. I would say for me, I take great pride in my leadership abilities. I feel like I've been very blessed with being able to
good at that.
Use my voice and my ability to speak kind of off the top when needed, to kind of direct or drive in a certain direction. And yeah, I feel very good about that
The
ability.
thing about Ethan, having worked with you for how long have you been with us? A year?
With your show specifically?
Yeah, how long have we worked together?
Well, there was kind of that in-between period where I was part-time with you guys after Hannah left.
Yeah.
Because she was the full-time producer. And then I was filling in until you guys found a new producer.
Yeah.
And then Leah was around for a little while.
Yeah.
And now I am your guys' full-time producer.
Yeah, because we did without for a while.
Yeah. So it's hard to put a specific number, but it's been a year and a half at least that I've been really connected with you guys.
The thing I appreciate about Ethan the most is that Ethan is Ethan. And for being a young person, most people your age in this type of environment can be kind of a chameleon. It's like, who do you need me to be? And while I understand why people are like that, especially when they're young, I really respect it when people are part of the solution because of who they are, because that brings a lot more to the table than, what do you need me to do? Just like, who do you need me to be? I like your individuality, and I like your
appreciate that.
conviction.
Very kind of you.
It's a compliment. What do you like about yourself, Brad?
I think that this is kind of actually newfound in the past 10 or 15 years. I like that I'm willing to try new things and be willing to fail at something even if I don't know what I'm doing. I really like to test myself, to stretch myself out and stress myself out, but mainly stretch myself out. When I was in high school, there's no way I would have taken any risks in my life as far as like, hey, do you want to come try a new job? Do you want to try this? No, I was not a risk taker. I was very much like, let me stay in my safe lane. But ever since I had the heart attack, which I've had 3 of those whenever I was 27 years old, I'm more open to trying new things because you never know how much longer you have and that sort of thing. So it's like, I'll see if I can do it. I'll try.
I would say that the thing... What was it? How'd you phrase the question? The trait?
What is your favorite characteristic or trait about yourself?
I think I'm a good mom. I think that being a mother has made me completely reprioritize my life. And I simultaneously want my children, and I say this to them obnoxiously, for them to know how much I love them. Like, just envelop them in the understanding that no matter what, ever, I always will love them. And my love for them is not limited in any way, shape, or form. But also to, at the same time, understand that I have to raise independent human beings that don't need me, but that would want to be around me in the future. And when you have that type of focus and clarity, when I gained that, then there are a lot of things that you end up saying no to certain things, stuff that you want to do or whatever. But when you have that clarity of like, what is my purpose? I mean, as a mom, that's certainly the priority of my purpose is to be a mom. And the clarity of that has made harder decisions in my life easier to make. So I would say that.
It's good.
Okay, thank you. Next question to follow.
I affirm that you were a great mom, Annie.
Thanks. Thank you. The next question to follow the sentiment of the last one. Do you eat the skin of the baked potato?
Ooh. Do I?
That's deep.
It's not really.
I
eat
did
the
last
skin.
night.
Well, then your answer is yes.
Yes.
It's not really
I
deep.
do. It was good.
I think I do now. It's been a long time since I've had a baked potato. I
Baked
feel like
potatoes are delicious.
They are. They are. The thing is that my mom used to make them a lot, and then I moved out, and I don't think I've had one since. And now that you bring it up, I kind of miss baked potatoes.
When's your next baked potato? They're so easy to make.
What do you do? How do you make them?
Stab them with a fork a bunch of times and put them in the microwave for
Seems
like
kind of
4 or
aggressive.
5 minutes. Just push the potato button.
There's a potato button on our. I don't think I've ever used one of the food buttons on my microphone. Microwave.
Yeah, I get it. They're like, you push the button, you're like, are you sure?
Can we trust this?
Are you sure?
Yeah.
This is potato. That's awfully specific.
Yeah.
What kind of potato? Yeah, try it. Yes, I do eat the skin. How do you make your baked? Like, if it's the perfect baked potato, I'll tell you mine. It's slice it down the middle.
Okay.
And then slice it horizontally a bunch of times so it kind of falls open. Put a little bit of butter in some of the different openings and salt and pepper. That's a fine way to eat a potato, and I will eat the whole thing. And I will usually eat a sweet potato or a baked potato as my main course, and then like a salad or something on the side. But if it's like baked potato night in our house, we have little bacon bits and sour cream and cheese, and that's fantastic. Little chives on top.
You said stabbing and slicing a lot in that sequence.
Sense of therapy.
A little concerning. It's all right.
And then you eat the thing till it's gone. How do you eat your baked potato?
You mean like what do I like on it? What is that what you're
do you put
referring
it
to?
in your mouth? What do you do?
I do most of the time
You're
put it in
taking
my
the
mouth.
Ryan Wiggins thing a little too far.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
How do you dress it?
Yeah. So I'm with you. Slice her right down the middle. Pop that sucker open. I'm letting the butter melt. I'm scattering a little bit of cheese, a little bit of bacon. The chives aren't a necessity, but if they're there, I'm throwing them in.
And it's almost more for looks than anything else, unless you go hard on them.
Yeah. You don't want too many, and then I feel like it overloads it.
Just get stuck in your teeth.
It becomes chives with a side of baked potato.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, I'm okay with that with the cheese and the bacon, but not with the chives.
What about you, Brad?
Because of the hardtack, I don't do the butter, but so my baked potato is very boring. It's just salt and pepper. I cut it open like you were describing, slice it both ways, and then let it fall open so it cools down a little bit, and then a little salt and pepper, and I just have at it.
People are criticizing me suggesting you make your baked potato in the microwave. That's just the easiest way to do it. You can roast them in the oven. You can put them on the grill. You can smoke them. You can do all this stuff.
Grill 'em?
You can put them in the air fryer. Heck yeah.
Ooh.
Wrap them up in some tin foil and put them on the grill.
Huh.
Cook everything else out there and just let the potatoes. Let them cook, literally.
Let them cook.
Next question.
Is it my turn? What is classy if you're good looking, but trashy if you're not?
What?
So what is something?
You go first.
I'm going to say tattoos.
Oh.
I think that a good-looking person can have a tattoo, but I think that if you see somebody that is not as good-looking and they have like a big sleeve and everything, you start worrying about them and wondering maybe if they are there and up to no good.
Yeah, I think that in that instance, it's not the tattoo that makes the classy, trashy delineation, if that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
You have any thoughts? I don't know.
I'm going to say baggy clothes. I think the baggy clothing trend is really weird. And I mean, it's something that's come back, I guess, from when I was really young. And I think that it just feels like something that is much able to be pulled off, or much more likely to be able to be pulled off if you're better looking and if you have money.
Smoking cigarettes.
Oh, gosh.
I'm trying to, I don't know. I would argue that that's trashy either way.
Maybe you haven't seen the right person smoking a cigarette.
I guess not.
I'm not advocating for smoking
I would
cigarettes.
say that,
but I grew up in a time where cigarette smoking was still Joe cool, and certainly there's been a huge push against that. But
see, I would say that the difference is the trashy is the cigarettes, but the fancy, the classy is the cigars. That's what I would say is more
Smoking.
so the
cigars.
Yeah, I would say that is the.
What about a pipe?
Oh, that is just a whole new level.
That's sophistication.
You got a pipe. It's like, dude, let me tip my cap to you, my guy.
Sophistication right there.
That's a whole new level of class.
Next question, Ethan, you got another one?
Do you guys have you guys know what's the word for them? Like an example would be like LOL stands for
an abbreviation.
Abbreviation, yes, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have one of those that every time you see it, you're like, I don't know what that means, but then you just keep moving, you just kind of like...
Someone told me one time that LOL looks like a man drowning, and I thought that was funny, and then someone else said it looked like a bed. Like LOL, it's like a head with two hands in there.
Not really what I was going for.
Type it out. You can't unsee it. It's like,
type it right
somebody
now.
help him.
Oh, my God.
See,
That's
you
so
see
dumb.
it. You see it.
That's so dumb.
He's going, help me. What was
So
your
dumb.
question? No, I can usually figure them out. I'll sit there and work. There was one yesterday. I think I saw it on Reddit, and I didn't understand it. And I don't remember what it was because I didn't understand it, but I'm pretty good at decoding things. I don't. My daughter, she's 12, and they abbreviate everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. BC, because. I mean, there can be things that are abbreviations for multiple. You have to, like, in context, understand what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I read all my daughter's stuff, and I can't. I don't tell her to write differently to her text in her text to her friends, but I require my kids to text me in proper English. Like, use capitals and periods, and use the correct word of your. If it's you are, hit the apostrophe in there, sucker. That's the requirement when texting mom. Is that a good or a bad thing?
I think that's a very mom thing.
I think it's a good thing.
It is a mom thing. See, I told you it was a good mom. Brad,
you
got
nail it.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about because with the youth group, I've got a Discord server set up, and the kids get on there and they start messaging, and then every so often they'll get going, and I'll be like, I don't know what any of this means. And so then I have to chime in. I'm like, I need somebody to decode this. Because like you said, you read everything that your daughter gets.
Heck yeah.
I am constantly monitoring that
She also
Discord.
has zero social media and definitely doesn't have Discord or Roblox or anything like that.
Yeah. The idea there being that I'm monitoring it so they're not getting in trouble with anything that they're posting on there.
Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break. Donald Trump is speaking at the Department of Justice. We're going to key in on this. Plus, the Senate vote is taking place. We're going to watch both of these and see if any news breaks before we turn it over to Mark Reardon, who is in Cottleville.
At the Assumption Parish.
Yes. Ethan, crack producer. Yes. So if you want to get out to the fish fry to see Mark Reardon and the round table, you can do that at the Assumption Parish in Cottleville. Go out there, say hello, get some delicious fish on a Fish Fry Friday, and we'll get the results of today's YouTube live chat poll and our thoughts on it, plus Trump from the DOJ, plus possibly a key Senate vote. Gosh, 97-1. You guys are in the right place. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan are easy to reach because 314-324-4440 is the number that goes to Stewie's cell phone. So when you reach out to Stewie, you call 314-324-4440. It goes directly to him, and you can text him at 314-324-4440. Ask him about the Bagel Loan. You're requiring a new mortgage because you're buying a new home. Why would you pay closing costs elsewhere? If you're looking to get a low rate, whatever low rate you're going to qualify for, you're going to qualify for. Stewie can get you that. If you were looking for a fast close to be a competitive buyer, how about less than 2 weeks? Stewie can get you that. But getting to the point where you pay $0 in closing costs, You need Stewie and the bagel loan to get that. 314-324-4440 is the number to call or text 314-324-4440. And I'll throw this in there too. If you're looking to refinance, I've done 2 bagel loan refinances with Stewie. 0 closing costs both time. I was able to lower my rate, have a great low rate right now, and it's all because Stewie guided me through it. You can too. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
Hey, it's Annie. Get your conceal and carry with the certified experts at STS Armory. From beginners and ladies only to pepper spray, STS Armory has a class for you. Call 618-931-GUNS or stop by in Pontoon Beach at the corner of Highway 111 and South Drive.
Today's YouTube live chat poll, who is the MVP of the Trump team right now? Elon Musk, RFK Jr., J.D. Vance, or Marco Rubio? We want to know what you think, and we want you to comment on Annie's YouTube page. So jump onto youtube.com/@AnnieFry, vote in the poll, and then leave us a comment telling us why you voted the way you voted. We might feature your comment on air, and we will have the results coming up next. The time is 2:43. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Well, President Trump is speaking from the Department of Justice, was introduced by Pam Bondi, the Attorney General. I think that this is maybe the one area of the Trump administration that people have been holding their breath on and are getting to the point where they need to take another breath and they're getting a little anxious. Let's listen in real quick. This is live to President Trump speaking at the Department of Justice.
House Majority Whip Tom Emmer. Tom, great job you're doing. Representative Guy Reschenthaler. One of the toughest names to say, but I got it perfectly, I think. And State Attorney General Ken Paxton, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Somebody who was with us early on, and she's really become a big star and very popular, Brenna Bird. Thank you, Brenna. Thank you very much. Steve Marshall, Alan Wilson, James Othermeyer, Chris Carr, Dave Sunday,
We're going
Marty
to pop in here
Jackley,
so we could list
as well
all
as
the people in Washington, D.C., and that's not really helpful for you this afternoon. We'll have Brad keep an ear on it, and if he gets to the meat of the deal, we will jump back into what the president is saying. I look at his Pam Bondi coming out, Jesse Waters, and saying on a Wednesday and saying Thursday we're going to get the Epstein files, we're going to release them. What a dumb move that was. Where are the Epstein files? Why is there not a daily update on it? I want to know everything.
Yeah, that's pretty frustrating. I mean, it seems very political, and this administration has done a really good job of the whole thing for them has been they're going to be the opposite of the traditional politician. This is a very traditional politician move, and it is a little bit frustrating.
How much of the Jeffrey Epstein story do you know outside of working for this station and being like, if you weren't working here, would you know Jeffrey Epstein's name?
Yes. Now, how much I would know about it?
Would you be like, ooh, he's a bad guy?
Probably. I would definitely have at some point heard some sort of, it was going around for a while, the Epstein didn't kill himself.
Yeah.
That was a huge thing right after that happened. So that definitely would have gotten around. I don't know how much context I would have had behind it, but there's no hiding the things that he did. It's not like those are specifically within the political world. That affects that was pretty big trending news at the time. So I would say that yes, I would know it. I will say this though. A lot of mainstream media has really thrown out the Donald Trump affiliation with that. It's
their only interest.
If it wasn't for working at this station, I don't know what my understanding or knowledge would be because I'm just reading what is told to me.
I asked one of my dear friends, and she's not around the news media at all. She works, has a job, so she works during the show. So I give her a pass for not listening to my show. And I said to her something a couple weeks ago, like the Epstein files are supposed to come up, and she goes, "What?" And I go, Epstein files? And she kind of looked at me. I go, do you know who Jeffrey Epstein is? She's like, no, is he a good guy or bad guy? And I was like, I wonder how many people out there, it seems like such a huge deal to people who are saturated in these types of news stories, but I really wonder how many people out there don't know.
It also might depend on how much you're on social media as well. Because, I mean, like I said, everything that I knew about him was based around social media and
Memes.
seeing stuff popping up on my Twitter or my Instagram. So if you're not one that's on social media a lot, or you're not seeing a lot of trending news, then I think it completely makes sense that you wouldn't know who Jeffrey Epstein is.
Our YouTube live chat poll, we want people to go vote and tell us your MVP vote for the Trump team right now. Elon Musk, RFK Jr., J.D. Vance, and Marco Rubio. Ethan, do you have any strong thoughts or feelings on this poll?
This is probably the hardest time, like, for a poll that I understand or feel like there's a fair answer to. This is probably the one I've had the hardest time answering, because I think that Elon Musk is a good answer, but I also, kind of like what we talked about earlier, I think that there's a pretty big chunk of the population that does support Trump, but also is not a huge fan of Elon Musk. Those people that are in the middle.
You think so?
I think so, yeah. But I still think...
Do you think it's easier to support Trump than it is Elon Musk?
Ooh. I don't know if I have a strong opinion on that. I think that I would think personally, without looking at any of these polls or anything, that they would be pretty darn even. But clearly, some people don't like the direct way in which they feel that Elon Musk is going about things. You could argue, I guess, maybe that he's being a little bit too tough, maybe. But I still think I would put him as the guy out of all these four.
That's interesting. Well, we want to know your votes. Ethan, you can give us the results here in a minute. Let's go back to the President Trump's speech and see what it is he has to say here.
And that's why on day one, I signed an executive order banning all government censorship and directing the removal of every bureaucrat who conspired to attack free speech and many other things and values in America. My administration stripped the security clearances of the disgraced intelligence agents who lied about Hunter Biden's laptop from hell. We revoked the clearances of deranged Jack Smith, Alvin Bragg, Letitia James, and the crooked law firms that aided their partisan persecutions. And I went through it. These are state and city courts, and the corruption is unbelievable. We also terminated the clearances of the Biden crime family and Joe Biden himself. He didn't deserve it. In fact, he was essentially found guilty, but they said he was incompetent, and therefore let's not find him guilty, I guess. Nobody knows what that ruling was, but I didn't want any part of it. I think I would have rather been found guilty than what they found with him. They said he didn't know what the hell he was doing, and therefore he's let him go. I said, you know, I'd rather be convicted, Pam, I think, than that. That was not good. I said, please convict me, don't say that. I pardoned hundreds of political prisoners who had been grossly mistreated. We removed the senior FBI officials who misdirected resources to send SWAT teams after grandmothers and J6 hostages. And it was a great honor for me to fire, I will tell you this, a great honor to fire James Comey. A great, great honor. That was nothing. There was no better day. A lot of people said, oh, that's too bad you did that. And they said, that's going to be, and you know what? A year later, they said, that actually saved the administration, because the level of corrupt things that we learned after that turned out to be that they were doing, in fact, really bad things. He was a terrible person, did terrible things, and persecuted people, and all in the guise of being an angel, but he wasn't an angel. We created a brand new DOJ task force and anti-Christian bias. And under Director Patel, we're getting the FBI agents out of the headquarters in Washington, D.C., and back on the streets in pursuit of dangerous criminals where they belong and where they want to be. And, you know, you have that big FBI building, and it's a very big building, and they were going to build an FBI headquarters 3 hours away in Maryland, a liberal state, but that has no bearing on what I'm about to say, but we're going to stop it. Not going to let that happen. We're going to build another big FBI building right where it is, which would have been the right place because the FBI and the DOJ have to be near each other. You can't That's one thing I did learn from this persecution. The FBI and the DOJ work together. Now, in my case, they work together for bad purposes, but they do. They were always together. So how can you have one that's 3 hours away? But one thing I said to Cash, well, we're going to get a great building built. It's going to be a magnificent building. He said, sir, we don't need that kind of room. I said, what do you mean? He said, I'm just going to take a old Department of Commerce building that's about 25% the size, and that's what I need. We're going to have the best staff that you've ever seen, and that's what I need. It's in a nice location, but I don't need that big building. Why don't you just sell the site to somebody, and we're going to be very happy. And they want to have far fewer people, but we also want to have them in D.C., and if for no other reason, we like having law enforcement walking the streets of our capital, because when the bad guys are out there and they see there's an FBI agent, that's the ultimate in law enforcement, and they're not going to be acting so bad. We're cleaning up our city. We're cleaning up this great capital, and we're not going to have crime, and we're not going to stand for crime, and we're going to take the graffiti down, and we're already taking the tents down, and we're working with the administration, and if the administration can't do the job, we're going to have to take it back and run it through the federal government. But we hope the administration is going to be able. So far, they've been doing very well. The mayor's been doing a good job. We said there are tents galore right opposite the State Department. They have to come down, and they took them down right away. And so far, so good. But we want to have a capital that can be the talk of the world. When Prime Minister Modi of India, when the President of France, and all of these people, the head of Prime Minister of United Kingdom, they all came to see me over the last week and a half. And when they come in, I had the route run. I didn't want to have them see tents. I didn't want to have them see graffiti. I didn't want to have them see broken barriers and potholes in the roads, and we had it looking beautiful. And we're going to do that for the city.
President Trump speaking from the Department of Justice right now. That is such an interesting thought, because the Democrats are like, oh, how do we look to the whole world? It's terrible. Donald Trump's ruining everything. And then we bring the world leaders to Washington, D.C., and it looks like, a dilapidated city where there's graffiti places, not taking care of infrastructure, just not order and not peace, not a safe place. That's a really interesting perspective on why you need to have clean cities, put together cities.
It was just a couple of weeks ago that we saw that he had basically told the mayor of D.C. that you need to remove homeless people from certain areas of the city where there's a lot of activity going on.
Yeah.
And we saw pictures and videos of them being removed from those areas. I think that only further affirms that statement.
St. Louis, take note. Every day I come in downtown and I'm on the Stan Musial Bridge and I come in. I look at that tent city that's right there. Tent city on the left, crumbling buildings all the way in on the right. Welcome to St. Louis, which is such a sad thing because that's not all St. Louis has to offer. Real quick, we were wrong on the location of the Reardon fish fry. We need to correct it.
Yeah, it turns out Brad doesn't know everything. Knights of
That's for next week.
I love you, Brad. Knights of Columbus, 7198 in Cottleville, Missouri. 5701 State Route, North Cottleville, Missouri, 63304.
Knights of Columbus in Cottleville.
Yes.
That's where you're going for the fish fry. And real quick, the answers to the YouTube live chat poll, the results, do you have them?
248 votes on today's YouTube live chat poll. Who is the MVP of the Trump team right now? I can tell you last place, 3% goes to RFK Jr. Close for second place. Marco Rubio ends up getting 23%. J.D. Vance with 22%. And the overwhelming winner with 52% is Elon Musk.
Elon Musk coming in strong. Well, get out to the Knights of Columbus in Cottleville and go see Mark Reardon at his fish fry, or keep it right here, of course, on 97.1 FM Talk. Mark Reardon, next.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. You want the best for your parents, but making the right senior living choice can feel overwhelming. Let me make it easier. New Perspective in Weldon Spring is where older adults can thrive, not just reside. At New Perspective, your loved one will enjoy chef-prepared meals, engaged activities, state-of-the-art technology, and a welcoming community that feels like home. You'll have peace of mind knowing that they have care available when they need it. Visit npseniorliving.com to schedule a tour today. New Perspective, where every day is a chance to live life on purpose.
Hey guys, Glover here from my friends at Triton Exteriors. Hopefully you've heard me talk about Triton before, and you know that I'm good friends with their owner, Tim, that I love their commitment to customer service. Tim comes from the restaurant business, and so he is completely focused on your happiness. The answer is yes. What's the question? Also, we're not just your average contractor. We're your neighbor. We're proudly based in Shrewsbury. We deliver stunning exteriors with James Hardie Siding. So why James Hardie? Why is that a big deal? Well, it's the #1 brand for durability, curb appeal, and the best-in-class return on investment. As part of the James Hardie Alliance, we bring expert craftsmanship and a personal touch to every project. Your home deserves the best, and with Triton Exteriors and James Hardie, that's exactly what you're going to get. For roofing, siding, gutters, or fences, call 314-717-1159 or go to triton-stl.com. 314-717-1159 or triton-stl.com.
Attention St. Louis Medicaid members. If you need assistance with daily living, you can receive a free service from Freedom Care in your own home from a loved one who lives with you. With Freedom Care, you decide who provides your daily care, helping you with preparing meals, bathing, laundry, transportation, and more. A family member or friend that gets paid instantly. It's all through Medicaid, and as a St. Louis resident, it's 100% free to you. New to Medicaid? The Freedom Care family will guide you through enrollment, making it stress-free for patients and caregivers. With over 7,000 five-star Google reviews, we've perfected at-home care for Medicaid members and caregivers. If you live in the St. Louis area, this service is free to you through Medicaid, and with our InstaPay app, caregivers can choose to get paid instantly. So go to Freedom Care.
The Trump White House. As you can well imagine, we have lots of friends, as you well know, in the Trump White House. And I said, hey, what's the story here? Is there actually any truth to this at all? I put up the tweet on it early this morning. And what I was told is this is fake news. The White House has not extended an offer to the Philadelphia Eagles yet. It is still very soon after the championship was garnered. And usually those championship visits don't happen until the summer. And the Eagles have given no indication at all, as they have not received an invite about whether they will be coming or not.
So Outkicks Clay Travis there, giving us the update or the initial news report, because I guess everything else was kind of rumor, that the Eagles are very open to going to the White House because they're world champions, and that's what they should do. Politics is obviously in everything right now, and sometimes people think if you're in sports, maybe you don't talk about those things. That got politicized, I think, before maybe anybody even got asked, as he said, invited to the White House. And we're excited to bring our next guest on the show. Jonathan Lucroy is a former Major League Baseball catcher, known from the Brewers, of course, here in St. Louis. He's also a professional hitting and catching consultant. Go to jonathanlucroy.com to learn more. Jonathan, it is a pleasure to have you on the show here. Thanks for being with us today.
Hi, Annie. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You bet. I want to give you the opportunity to talk about, for an athlete that gets the opportunity to go to the White House, there's always a little bit of buzz and hubbub around that. Donald Trump is more charged, it seems to me, than any other political figure, at least in my 40 years of life. When you hear stories like this about some teams saying they don't want to go or they do want to go based on the presidency, what are your thoughts about that as a professional athlete?
I think that the opportunity to go to the White House is a huge privilege. And I myself have been twice. Both times Obama was president. I went to Obama's State of the Union address in 2015. To me, it's not about the man, but about the respect for the office and who the people elect there. And I think for anybody to be invited is a privilege and an honor. And I would have loved to go as a world champion, to go experience that and celebrate that win and celebrate that championship, at the highest nation in the land. And I think whoever's in the White House is irrelevant. And I think that's an excuse personally. So I think as athletes, we should be proud to take part in such things if we're invited.
Yeah, I think that's a really smart, common sense way to approach it, and that's kind of what attracted me to what you have been posting on X at JLucroy20 for folks who want to follow Jonathan. You have a pretty. This is the weird thing that normal thoughts on politics seem to be kind of outside of the norm, but it's starting to become a little more common to see people who have varied opinions on politics, but now are more willing to just weigh in on things when it matters to them in this second term of Donald Trump. What's your thoughts on his victory, but also his ability to get things done and your willingness to talk about it?
I try to look at everything from, an athlete perspective. And again, my world is baseball, right? And I'm not a political scientist. I don't claim to be. I don't claim to know everything. But what I do know is that for me, if I'm trying to be the best catcher in the world, right, I'm going to go and get advice from somebody who was the best catcher in the world, who's done it at a high level, right? A guy like, again, I don't want to make a big deal out of a guy like Yadier Molina, right? And I love Yadi. I respect Yadi to death. And I talked about Yadi a lot online on Twitter and all that. But my point is that whenever I don't like politicians per se, and I don't think Donald Trump's a politician. I think he's a businessman. And Elon Musk, businessman, he's surrounding himself with business people. And I believe that we have to trust him. And I know a lot of people don't, because they're being fed this counter narrative that he's racist and a fascist dictator and all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, the guy was actually shot at, right? And they tried to kill him. And he's still up there telling us to fight and get after it. And to me, I like that Donald Trump is who he is. He's unapologetically who he is. And I've never met him, but I know people that know him and that have met him that are working with him now on a lot of things. And for me, like, let's go back to the baseball perspective. I always like having players on my team that were a little edgy.
Yeah.
Not crazy, but like a little edgy, that you couldn't bully around, you couldn't push around, because those guys win, and you need guys like that on your team to win, and I think as Americans, we should be trying to win. And unfortunately, there's a portion of this country and the media in general that they act like they don't want us to win, with all the Doge stuff. They act like it's okay that we're wasting all this money and sending it to terrorist groups and all these other things and all these other really weird.
I can't wait for my parents to meet you tomorrow.
I can't wait.
Oh, by the way, my dad is a thermodynamicist at NASA. Bye.
Hey, Meta, what the heck is a thermodynamicist?
A thermodynamicist studies energy and heat transfer.
Hey, Meta, explain thermal balance.
It manages heat generation.
So it optimizes fuel efficiency.
Exactly.
Nice to meet you, sir. Can't wait to pick your brain about the transition from liquid fuel to hybrid propellants. What?
Purposes and all this weird stuff. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me from a logical perspective. I try to look at everything logically and stay out of my emotions on it. Talking about athletes, though, we're always told, don't bring politics into the game, keep it separate, believe what you want to believe, vote how you want to vote, but don't talk about it, don't represent it. But my problem is, and this is my personal experience, and I posted this many times on Twitter or on X, that they politicize us. We're politicized. We're politicized. Like, we're told to wear rainbow jerseys and celebrate drag queen nights and take pride in all this weird stuff. Or excuse me, take part in all this weird stuff. Kneel for the anthem. That was a big one that really chapped me.
Yeah.
We were told kneel for the anthem. And, I told them, no, I'm not doing that. Like, I refuse to do that. It's just not respectful to me. That's not solving a purpose. Matter of fact, you're alienating and dividing people more because you're pushing this. Yeah. And I think athletes should be more bold. And my hope is that and I'm not saying I'm some superstar, big name person, but I will tell you this. I'm not going to mention names, but I've had a lot of people, baseball players, big time players that people know about, that are still playing, that have reached out telling me that they appreciate what I'm doing and that they are thankful that there's someone being bold. And I look and I tell them, I text them back, or I call them back, and I'm like, bro, you could do it too.
Yes.
Like, it's okay. It's okay. Why is it not okay to talk about how you believe and what you represent And not even from a political perspective, like take politics out, like culturally,
Human. Yes.
culturally, like it's okay to love my wife. It's okay to love children. It's okay, to have children. It's okay to be married for a long time. It's okay, to stand up and be proud to be an American. It's okay to do that. Like it's nothing. What's wrong with that? Why? And so, but they're told that they can't do that. And I understand a little bit because I was that guy where I didn't want to bring it up during my playing days because they would just cut you or release you, or they'd come in and they would tell the media, don't interview this person,
Mm-hmm.
don't interview this guy because he's going to talk about his politics or whatever. And I think there's a problem with that. And I think that we're allowed to be, we're not allowed to be to talk about what we culturally believe in, family values based stuff. But yeah, they politicize us in the field and tell us to do all these crazy, take part and celebrate all this crazy stuff, all this all this weird sex stuff and everything. And it's weird. And it just doesn't make sense to me from a logical perspective.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I'm so grateful that you're on with us here in St. Louis, because what you're saying, you're getting people reaching out to you saying like, high five, man. Thanks for saying that stuff. You're speaking for more people than you know. And to your point, like, okay, now your turn. Tag, you're it. Speak up. And for your voice to be out there and talking about it, you kind of I don't know if it's not an insult. You kind of disqualified your political opinion at the beginning by saying, you're a baseball player, you're not a political science major or whatever. I actually care more about what you think, because you have a lived experience. You're talking about players that you have worked with, been on teams with, played against, that you respect. These people are husbands, they're fathers, and I they're Christians. They're all these things that I would assume on the resume of life come before baseball player. And
absolutely,
you're being pushed by an industry. I don't know if it's going to happen as much. It seems like more people are kind of moving away from the woke virtue signaling in corporations, because it doesn't seem to be as trendy at this point. But when you're talking about Major League Baseball telling you guys to kneel, how do you handle that as a team?
Experience luxury in every drive with the Buick Envision. Quiet tuning technology creates a serene and
when something like that comes down.
So I don't want to. I'd love to call everybody out, believe me, but I'm not here to trash people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that from what I've seen, and you've seen it in industry as well, is that a lot of businesses and industries and sports leagues, they sway with the political climate, right? And so you got these woke people in office, and so now all of a sudden they got to go, these organizations and these teams and leagues and stuff, they got to go woke, or they'll be punished in some way by by the government, or I don't know, but it's just what I've heard. And I think that sports, number one, should be celebrating the best of us, right? It should be celebrating. And by the way, let's call it what it is. Professional sports is a pure meritocracy. Okay. So if I suck and I don't play good, I'm going to lose my job. Okay. It's no DEI. You can't have DEI and on professional sports teams, because you want a guy up to the plate that's good at hitting, not a guy up to the plate because he's of a certain skin tone or or a certain nationality, right?
Yeah.
A great example of this is I played with multiple guys. I played with guys from all over the world, but I played with guys from Cuba and Venezuela. Now let me ask you a question. How do you think they believe? Right? The Cuban guys came over here on boats fighting sharks. It's a true story. My Venezuelan buddy, I'll never forget. We were in the food room in the cafeteria getting something to eat, and he looks at me, he goes, Lucroy. I can't do the accent, so I'm not even gonna try. But he goes, Lucroy, why do, and this was during the Antifa and BLM riots. And he said, Lucroy, why do people hate America like this? What's wrong with these people? Well, they have no idea.
Are you like how much time do you have?
Yeah, like why is this? And I said, bro, I don't know. I think people just, they're just not happy people for whatever reason. They're just miserable, and they want to make everybody miserable around them because they're so traumatized from something that happened in their childhood or something. I don't know. They've been brainwashed. He goes, Poppy, I have family members in Venezuela that are eating cats and dogs. And I don't understand why these people act like this. That's what he told me. And it's just 90%. I can't speak for any other leagues, but 90% of Major League Baseball players are conservative. They're not. We talk about it amongst each other. We had multiple conversations about this. Every year I played with different groups of guys, and 90% of them are conservative. Why? Because baseball in general is a meritocratic sport, and most of us come from lower middle class families, and we got to work our way up, overcoming failure and overcoming adversity to become the best in the world at what we do. And why don't we apply that to our government? Why is our politicians, they get elected and they think they can do whatever they want? Like, earn it. We have to earn this. And it is not given, it's earned. And that's why I love what this Doge stuff's all about, man, because he's exposing all this stuff.
Yes.
And I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I think we got to earn this, man, because we are capable of greatness, and we have to earn it to get there.
We're speaking with Jonathan Lucroy. He's a Major League Baseball player here in St. Louis. Of course, we know him from the Brewers. We had Willson Contreras. I don't know if it was in the World Baseball Classic. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. I think Venezuela was having their election, and he hit a home run. And, fans of Contreras here, of course, and our Contreras, I should say. And he hits this home run, and I remember seeing him in the dugout, and he was like weeping after that happened. And, afterwards, the local press was like, hey, man, what was going on there? Because you hit this big home run. Like, that's what you do. You're a pro ball player. You hit home runs. Hooray. But he was so emotional about it. And he commented about Venezuela, I think, an election that was about to happen that evening or something. And I think he was just comparing at that moment the contrast between this home run that he's hitting, for the St. Louis Cardinals, or maybe it was during the World Baseball Classic. I can't remember. And he was just overwhelmed, I think, with the contrast of what the people where he comes from are dealing with. And these are all things that are bigger than baseball, but yet these baseball moments bring out, in many cases, what is best about the United States of America. And I just think baseball, it seems to be one of the pure places that is left. And going back to what you were saying about, how baseball or any pro sport can try to shove these things in your experience, do you feel like when some of the woke stuff tries to seep in, hey, you guys, you're going to kneel. Hey, you guys, you're going to wear this jersey. Hey, we're going to celebrate this tonight, and everybody's going to participate. My assessment of that has always been that the money, the top of the business, they stick their finger in the wind, and they think that the money is chasing after the woke things. It's not even really, to me, a true virtuistic type of movement that is engaged in with a lot of these big high-dollar businesses and corporations. When it becomes less trendy, they're out. It's not like the virtue can be shown the most when it's unpopular, which is really, Jonathan, what I'm seeing from you and your willingness to speak out.
Well, Annie, I think too, on that same note, if teams would celebrate America every single day, and push the family, instead of pushing the woke stuff, if they would actually focus on the family values part, and the celebration of America part, and being proud and being gracious and being humble with actually being in this position where we're able to go out and make a lot of money, but also to play at the highest level in the world of what we do, being proud of that and celebrating that every day on the field, they'd actually make more money. I mean, look what's happened to the NBA. They would make more money. Why? Because the majority of sports fans, they're just middle-class people that just want to go and be distracted from the grind of their everyday life. They don't want to show up, and they don't want to see all this weird, virtue signaling stuff going on the field. They just want to bring their 6-year-old kid to a game and not see drag queens walking around. Like, that's a true story. Like, that happened on the team I was on. And, that we had, how many, we seriously had maybe 1,000 fans that day. Because I'm going, this isn't even smart business wise.
Right.
You're alienating the majority of your fan base by pushing this stuff, and no one cares. Like, if you're gay, who cares? Like, no one cares. Like, go live your life and be an adult, do whatever you want behind closed doors, but don't come out and push this stuff on everybody else. You're trying to use this platform to push whatever narrative or whatever you're trying to do. Just go out and let us play. And if we don't want to kneel for the anthem, don't demonize us for that. And the team that told me to kneel for the anthem, it happened, and they came down and the ownership group came down and said, we're encouraging you to kneel for the anthem. And I looked at him and I go, there's no way on God's green earth I will ever kneel for the anthem. If you want to release me and fire me right now, I'll go home. Like, I don't care. Like, I have friends at home. I have friends of mine that are military veterans. I've done a lot of military charity work in my career. I will never do that ever. I don't care if you can put a gun to my head. I won't do it. I kneel for Jesus Christ, and that's it. That's the only person I kneel for. And I'm unapologetically, like, I'm unapologetic about it. I will never apologize for it. But I actually called a buddy of mine who's on the other team. And I'm like, hey, bro, real good friend of mine. I say, hey, bro, I said, this is what happened. I'm going to tell you, I'm not doing it. He goes, dude, our ownership group came down and told us the same exact thing. And I said, I'm not kneeling. He goes, I'm not either. I said, good. Might just be me and you, bro, but I ain't doing it. And he didn't either. No, and it turned out it actually was great. There's only like 5 or 6 guys that did on both teams total. And so that's why I say, like, you have a bunch of alpha male type personalities and that are coming out on the field to compete and to beat each other. And you're telling us to come out here and to get in a state of submission to something that isn't even going to work. Like, that isn't even, like, if you have a cause you believe in, fine, go do whatever you think is right for you. Like, I'm a free speech guy, man. Like, do Constitution, like Bill of Rights, do your thing, do whatever you want to do. I'm not forcing anybody to believe what I want to believe.
Right.
I just think that goes both ways. That goes both ways, and you're not going to force us to do the same thing that you feel like we should do, and I believe how you want to believe. And again, my hope is that I can inspire guys to be more bold, to speak out, and to be more courageous, because I think the courageous part is what we need. We need people to be courageous, and there are a lot of people are outside of the political space, like in culture. Harrison Butker, what he did. Be courageous and just speak what you believe in. And if you disagree with me, that's okay. You don't have to agree with me. Like, that's fine. Disagree with me. Like, I don't expect everybody to agree with me, but I know the majority of them do. They just don't want to talk about it, and they don't want to be vocal about it because of the repercussions of what might happen to them. And that's really, it's cancel culture still. And to me, if we live in a country that is,
Snap your W-2 and file your taxes 100% free. Plus, get your biggest refund. File free.
that we have the kind of Bill of Rights we do. We have the Constitution that we do, and in Britain, they're arresting people for posts online. I mean, that is insane. It's insane.
It's crazy.
And here you saw what happened with X, and until Elon bought him, thank God, Elon bought X. But before that, if I would have spoken out before Elon bought X, I would have been deplatformed, and here you're taking away people's ability to have free speech, and they go ahead.
I was just going to say, the thing about it is, though, and especially with that story about you saying there's no way I'm going to kneel, it's just not happening. And it's clear to me based on that story that there had to be people in that room. I don't know what your seniority was when were you a rookie or were you like a senior guy in the locker room at that time? But there had to be people in there that was like, oh my God, I'm glad he said that. And it took one person to stand up and say, absolutely not. Then
you're right. And we talked about it as a team. And at the time I had a lot of service time in big league. So I was one of the veteran guys, but I was new to the team. Not that kept me from speaking out. I just don't care what people think about me, to be honest with you, anymore. I used to, not anymore. But I basically said, look, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, and you guys do whatever you want to do, but I'm going to do this. And, whether that I inspired him or not, I don't know. But knowing what I know about baseball players in general, a lot of guys think the same way I do. They just don't want to talk about it, be vocal about it, because they're fearful of the attention. By me doing so, I want you to understand. And again, I'm not virtue signaling here. Okay, I'm just being honest. Like, I've canceled myself out of Major League Baseball because people, I'll never probably coach in the big leagues ever again, or even be involved in big leagues ever again, because I've spoken out about it. But I knew that this would happen. But I wanted to do it anyway, because one day we're going to die and have to go to heaven and answer to God and say, hey, I did my best, and I'm not That's what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about anything else. So I want to make sure that I'm vocal, I'm honest, I'm truthful, and if I can if I can help one person out of all of this, that's all I'm trying to do, just one person. And so it's if anybody else after that is icing on the cake. So thank you for what you do, by the way, Annie. I appreciate you being vocal as well. We need good, strong, moral people to keep speaking out and just call it out. Just call it out. I mean, people are afraid to call out, and don't be speak righteous, be truthful, be honest, and call it out where it is. Because if we don't do that, then we're allowing, or then we're part of the problem if we don't do that, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're so right. Strong, courageous, and unafraid. And that shines through, at least on your X profile and in this conversation here. I'm so grateful for your time today. Thank you for your fearlessness and for sharing some of that with us. We really appreciate you, Jonathan, here in St. Louis. Of course, your kind words to Yachty. I always say that the number one thing sports teams or sports publications should do is leave a Cardinal off of any top 10 list, and your algorithm will go through the roof because St. Louis fans always show up. And you started talking about Yachty, and it hit my timeline, and we're grateful for that.
Yachty's the best.
Yeah,
he is in my book, and I said it the other day on X. He's a top 3 catcher of all time. And the respect I have for that dude is off the charts. And so I loved competing against him. He was the best. And he taught me, he might know this, he might not, but he taught me personally. He taught me a ton about catching and being a leader and being a good game caller and competing from behind the plate just from playing against him. And he's an absolute stud, and I'm very thankful to have competed against him, and for as long as I did. And I'm also thankful, by the way, to all the St. Louis fans out there that came to the games and watched us compete. And thank you guys for being great fans and supporting your team there. I mean, you guys, in my opinion, you're one of the best fans. I never played for the Cardinals, but played against you guys a ton.
Yeah,
and one of the great fan bases in baseball.
Well, we're appreciative of that. Jonathan, I'm going to invite you to come back on the show again sometime in the future here right now. So thank you for being with us today and for sharing. I mean, it's a message, but it's also a witness, and we're grateful for it.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Yep, you as well. Thank you so much.
I know your vision